Board to order on this 25th day of April 2023. Please rise if you're able and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Please remain standing. Great job. I heard a bunch of kids on that Pledge of Allegiance. Strong voices. I guess they're doing that at schools. So we like to start our meetings with a moment of silence in recognition of all the men and women of our armed services who bravely defend our freedoms at home and abroad each day. So with them in mind, let's join together in a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Supervisor Schneiderman.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara. Present. Councilman Martell.
Present.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Schiavone.
Present.
Okay, so everybody is here. I'd like to add a couple resolutions, more than a couple, 10 resolutions to our packet. These are walk-ons. They require a supermajority vote to be added on. If anybody has any objections to any of these, let me know, and we could vote on that one separately. Other than that, I'll make one motion to add all 10 on. 43126, authorizing indemnification as it relates to dredging at North Sea Harbor. 43157, coordinates lead agency for a supplemental generic environmental impact statement for the siting and construction of a community sewage treatment plant in the hamlet of Riverside. 43179 amends the 23 through 27 capital budget to add capital project Shinnecock dock repairs. 43189 is our 8th warrant. 43190 authorizes human resources director to attend training. 43200 appoints Brant Rayner to architectural review board. 43201 accepts resignation in the Youth Bureau. 43204, notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code Chapter 270-9 to add requirement to publish rental registration number. 43205, sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, authorizes fee waiver for the American Legion, Hand Aldrich Post number 24 in Hampton Bays. And 43212 abolishes and create positions in highway repair shop and reassign employees. So I'll make a motion to walk all 10 on.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that was unanimous, and we'll take those up at the end. Okay. Next, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of our April 11th meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the communications?
First, I'm just going to read your notice, the cancel work session for Thursday, April 27, 2023. Please be advised that the work session scheduled for Thursday, April 27, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. is canceled. The next regularly scheduled work session will be held on Thursday, May 4th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. Jay Schneiderman, Supervisor, dated April 25th.
Thank you.
The following communications have been received in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the New York State Independent Redistricting Commission. Their notice of public meeting is for April 20th, 2023, which is passed. County of Suffolk, Department of Economic Development and Planning. Notice of Town of Riverhead, notice of public workshop for a comprehensive plan update. Town of Southold, public hearing notice. Village of Sag Harbor, excuse me, notice of adoption. Village of Southampton, Zoning Board of Appeals, hearing notice. Financial disclosure statement filing from the listed individual. And we have received emails, letters, and land use applications regarding the following: Bel Air Cove Motel, Hampton Bays. Express session topic, changes coming to Hampton Bays. Marsden Street parcels, Sag Harbor. Proposed ball field in Spionk, proposed lithium battery storage facility, proposed rear yard percentage increase to 50%, Triton Lane Beach Parking Pilot Program, East Quogue, and Zoning Board of Appeals applications for 2071 Deerfield Road, Noyak, and 51 Beach Plum Road, Noyak. Bid and request for proposals were received on April 19th at 2 p.m. One for a 2021 used Ford F-150 for the Highway Department. No bids were received. Another bid for invasive vegetative control and removal for CPF. And used hydraulic excavator for the Highway Department. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
All right, thank you, Cindy. All right, so we are going to move on to public hearings. We have 5 hearings scheduled for this evening. This is also a hybrid meeting, so there are people who are watching online, and they'll be able to share their thoughts as well. We're going to take those who are here in person first, and then we'll switch over. Comments, 3 minutes. We ask you to make your comments known in 3 minutes. The clerk lets you know when you're down to your last 30 seconds. So I'll ask the clerk to read the first public hearing notice.
Public hearing number 1, to consider amending Town Code Article 14, exemption for members of voluntary fire departments and ambulance services of Chapter 298, taxation, to reduce minimum service requirement and clarify partial exemption for property not used exclusively for primary residence.
All right, and Kelly Ann Doyle, Assistant Town Attorney, will introduce us.
Yes. Thank you, Supervisor and members of the Town Board. This public hearing concerns proposed amendments to Town Code Section 298-37. So by way of background, the current Town Code section was adopted pursuant to former New York State Real Property Tax Law, Section 466-C. Now, this allowed the town to provide a partial exemption of up to 10% for real property that is owned by a volunteer firefighter or a volunteer ambulance worker, if certain requirements are met, including the property has to be the primary residence of the volunteer. The property has to be located within the jurisdiction served by the fire company, fire department, or ambulance entity to which the volunteer belongs, and the exemption amount is up to 10% of the assessed value. Currently, the minimum service time requirement is 5 years. So in order to be eligible to receive this exemption, a volunteer has to be certified as an enrolled member of an incorporated volunteer fire company, fire department, or ambulance service for at least 5 years. So the prior state law, which allowed this exemption, that only applied to about half the counties in this state. And it was a little complicated because there were different nuances for different counties. So the state wanted to make that a little bit easier, and they passed a new law signed by the governor on December 9th, 2022. This allows all of the counties in the state to opt in if they would like to in order to provide the 10% property exemption. And the new section of the real property tax law is 466-A. So in order for the town to continue providing this exemption, we have to adopt a new local law that conforms to the new state law. What we have now is pretty similar, but the major difference is that now the town has the option of reducing the minimum service requirement from 5 years to 2 years. So what the proposed law would do is reduce the minimum service requirement from 5 years to 2 years. So after 2 years, a volunteer could be eligible to receive the tax exemption. And the second part of the amendment is simply to clarify what is already in practice under the prior law and will be required under the new law, that if you have a property and your primary residence is on that property, but you also use it, another portion of the property, for something else that's not your primary residence, this just clarifies that the exemption only applies to that portion which is used for your primary residence. So in summary, the intent of these amendments that are proposed is to hopefully assist the town's efforts to retain and also attract new volunteers to fire and ambulance companies, because these volunteers do make tremendous sacrifices and they protect our communities and, of course, provide life-saving work. Does the board have any questions?
Does that apply the exemption to all your property taxes? Because the schools are, what, 75-80% of the property tax?
It applies to your, to the assessed
Assessment.
value, and it does not include special assessments, though.
But, so it lowers your assessed value by
Yes.
10%?
Yes.
So, so if you have
It'd be across the board.
a home worth $10 million and you volunteer in the fire department, you get that 10%, that $1 million reduction. And if you have a $1 million home, you get a $100,000 reduction. So the same volunteer work, the person with the more valuable home is actually getting a bigger amount of money than, that's a little bit of an unfair situation, I think. Is there
Right.
any cap on how much we would reduce it by?
It's up to 10%. I would have to look and see with the sole assessor, check with Lisa Gorey, our sole assessor, to see.
The
if there's a
state
cap
law
on
allows
that.
us to do 10%.
10%.
This is my proposition. So it was my understanding that there is no cap on that. I would be happy to see people who have $10 million homes volunteer in the fire departments and our ambulance corps. I think
Right,
that would
right.
be a real, an appropriate thing for it to
Yeah,
happen.
just
but
to
this-
have one person get so much more of a deduction than another, it seems a little inequitable.
And it's
Well,
interesting-
and also if someone has a $1 million or $2 million home, which is probably more likely, that same scenario would exist, but on a smaller scale. So
Right.
I don't think the state really had the ability to parse it out the way perhaps you're suggesting, but
Right.
they put this in the way they did.
Right.
To
yeah,
have
I
some
mean,
sort of cap on the dollars and cents, yeah, it'd be hard to do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
obviously, the 10% reduction in the assessment doesn't necessarily correspond to a 10% reduction in your taxes. It's, you have to
No.
look at the formula, but.
Now, is it?
I mean, you
if-
could look at that too, as somebody who lives in a high-taxed school district would have more of a savings than somebody who lives in,
Exactly.
like, if you live in Hampton Bays, you're gonna get more of a savings than if you live in
Right.
Southampton.
It is an incentive to
Right.
volunteer,
Yep.
for sure. And we do the LoSAP, which is another incentive, service award program. If you have two people in the house volunteering, let's say it's a property that's jointly owned, husband and wife,
Right.
you still you get the 10%.
You only get 10%, yes. Yep,
don't
one
get the
exemption
com-
up to 10%, no matter how many volunteers live in that house.
If you have more than one property, you
There
you
is
can only take it on one property.
Only one property, only your primary residence.
So you said up to 10%, what's the mechanism that would make it less than 10%?
The only reason it would be less than 10% would be if you, well, no, actually,
No,
it
it's
would be
10%.
10%,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
would be 10%.
Okay.
The only thing that I'm thinking would reduce it would be if you, and it would still be 10%, but if you had the situation where it was, your property was used for something else besides your primary residence, then you would take the 10% of the assessed value of that portion that's used for your primary residence.
But it would be effectively less for the other property, which isn't included. in
Right.
that.
That other property, the other portion of the property wouldn't be included, right? That's the only time it would be reduced. And there is one,
I believe we do have some latitude on the percentage that the town could decide to give volunteer firefighters. We're deciding to give the full amount at 10%.
right.
We could give 8 or 6 and really determine the number of years as well.
So we have
Right.
latitude
We're going for the
to-
maximum
You can
amount
do
because
between 2 to 5
it's important.
years. And right now, the state, the prior law only allowed 5, so the town allowed 5. And then now it's 2 to 5, so the town has the option of anywhere from 2 to 5.
So your
And-
bill has it at 2. right?
Correct.
So
And
the maximum reduction and minimum service requirement.
Right.
That's right. In a fire district or fire department, a probationary member has 2 years to complete their firematic services. So after 2 years, they have to have it done, and then they're a firefighter. So the theory is that, if you're fighting fires and you're doing whatever, you're on these calls, you're making your points, you should get the deduction, just like the men and women who have been in for 5 years.
Right.
So, and hopefully, more people will join our departments and districts.
Now, you don't have to be LoSAP qualified, right? You don't have to have your 50 points.
You have to be an enrolled member, and fire department policies dictate that, well, at least the ones I know, that you have to have a minimum number of points to be a member in good standing, which makes you an enrolled member. You have to make points.
Okay.
LoSAP points are 50 points. These are lengths of service award points that firefighters and ambulance workers get for answering calls and doing training and going to meetings and doing the myriad of other things that they do for us. So they do have to qualify them to be enrolled in the departments and districts.
All right, other questions for Kellyanne?
Questions?
What tax roll would this affect? The next one?
Then, let's see, yes, the next one, because you would have to put in your application, I believe, with the assessor's office by March 1st. So it would have to be for the next one,
So
it would impact the
2024
24.
taxes.
right?
All right, thank you.
Right.
I don't have any cards on this issue. Does anybody want it to be heard on this? I mean, really, the big difference is that after 2 years, you can qualify rather than 5.
Yes, yes, yep,
That's the main
difference.
change. All right,
Hopefully that'll be an incentive.
so, Charlie, anybody, if you're watching online and you want to be heard at this first public hearing, not the hot dog beach one, most of you are here for, this first public hearing on lowering the required years to qualify for the tax exemption for firefighters from 5 years to 2. If you want to be heard on this, you got to click the raise hand icon on the bottom of your screen, typically on the bottom of your screen, and then we'll know you want to be heard. We'll give you guys a moment. No hands. All right,
Actually, Kelly, I did have one question that just occurred to me, relative to appraising. So an appraiser typically will look at the assessed value of a property, if they have access to that. Will this, but they're notified that this reduction is clearly outlined
Yeah.
in the profile of the property, so that the owner does not get penalized as far as equity or wanting to borrow against the property,
That's
correct?
a good question. Yeah, I believe the
done in the
assessment will be the same. It'll be, the assessor
exemption.
staff will apply the 10% on that assessment. But the assessment as reflected on the record card will not change.
Right.
Right,
So
yeah,
there's
that's
a
what it
difference,
has
I'm
to
just
be-
making the point, that there's a
Yes.
difference between an appraisal and evaluation under a mortgage, as
right.
opposed to.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
you'll have the total assessment, and then exemptions will be listed, like if you have star exemption, or if you have, a veteran's exemption, or this exemption, it's listed underneath that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
but it will equate to 10% less in what you have to pay in taxes.
Yes, yes.
Well, maybe-
Yep.
That's the incentive. I'm thinking I want to
It's not
volunteer.
necessarily a dollar for dollar. It's, the assessment gets changed by 10%, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a 10% reduction.
Why not?
You have to,
Explain that one, Jim.
well, I have to have the assessor apply that, but I don't necessarily think that just a reduction in your assessment doesn't mean it's the corresponding exact reduction in the amount you're paying in taxes. I don't think that's a formula.
Have to look at that.
No?
Yeah.
Maybe at 100%, maybe when we were 100%, but now that we're not 100%
Oh, so
assessment.
we're not at 100% assessment.
Right.
So do you have to correct for equalization rate?
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I don't,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Doyle.
Thank you.
I'd like everyone to consider joining your fire department or ambulance corps, please. In addition to what we offer here, you also get a free beach sticker. You also get tuition reimbursement if you go to a SUNY school or one of our community college, and it's just the right thing to do. So,
And not to mention the LoSAP program, right?
and the LoSAP program, which is a retirement program. After 20 years, you get retirement after, depending on which department you're in, at about age 60, 65, anywhere between 62 and 65.
It's like $20 or $30 a month per each
It's
year.
about
So
$400 a month once you
For each year.
once you put in those years. So
Yeah,
it's well worth it.
okay. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the public hearing 1 is closed. We'll move on to public hearing number 2. Sunny?
Public hearing number 2, to consider authorizing the Triton Lane East Quogue Beach Parking Pilot Program.
All right, who would like to introduce Sean?
So I'm actually going to introduce this.
Okay.
Sean is here if you have any kind of legal questions on beach easements and the like.
Okay, Councilman McNamara?
This came about because the trustees have been talking about expanding and having an area to the west for some time for daytime beach parking. They had asked Councilman Martell about it when he was their liaison. They asked me when I came on. As it stands right now, the trustees have 50-foot easements at Road K, Road L, Mermaid, Triton, and Dolphin. So at their next meeting, they could on their own open those 50-foot easements to daytime parking on their own. They came to the town to ask us if we could find an area where we could expand on that 50 feet. And when we looked at all of these areas, we kind of settled on Triton because we own the beachfront to the east and to the west. We wanted to get this to a public hearing, so this is what we proposed as a way to hear from the public, because we could have had a work session and you would have just been hearing from Rick and I. The public has asked to weigh on this for some time. The 150 as it stands right now is 75 feet split east and west from the center line of Triton. There's nothing to say that that can't shift, and the 150 feet couldn't go completely to the east of Triton, which would leave a 50-foot buffer between the parking area and the neighbor to the east, and it would leave a 200-foot buffer from the parking to Hot Dog Beach, and it would also leave the 50-foot easement on Triton open if emergency vehicles needed to access the beach, for people to get on and off, so that would not be a parking area. So if we shifted it, it would basically, in essence, leave 150 feet to the east and 200 feet to the west. But it's really just for the public to be heard, and, you know, the trustees have asked for this, and we felt it was worthy of a public hearing, and you all thankfully agreed, and so here we are.
So the current proposal is
75 feet,
50 feet basically on each side.
yeah. So
And it'll be,
we would be adding 100 feet to their 50 feet.
and it'll be marked off somehow, so people know that
Yes.
this is the area where they can
Yes.
park, and this is what, in
This
the
is
summer-
only on
summer-
Sundays, only on
Sundays.
Sundays. It adds 17 days, basically, to what is currently,
It's 2 holiday Mondays, right?
it's 2 holiday
July-
Mondays
Is it July 4th and Labor Day
and
Monday?
15 Sundays.
And Sundays, and it's those hours, right now, you can
You can be
drive
on
the
there
beach
until 9
before
o'clock,
9 in the morning.
and you can go on
6.
after 6.
So this would be for those hours between 9 and 6.
8 hours, 17 days in the summer.
And it's limited, number of cars are limited,
It's limited to 30 cars,
30, and who enforces that?
Bay Constables.
The Bay Council, okay.
And it's a pilot program.
And it's a pilot program
Yeah.
for 1 year.
And what happens after the 1 year?
We have the option to discontinue it or continue it.
Okay.
I do have a question about that. That's in the 9th whereas, the last whereas. And it says that the program should automatically renew.
But it says the town board also wishes to consider, well, we can decide that
Right, we would
now.
have to,
In the it would be in the resolution.
Yeah, we can amend we can talk.
okay, I mean,
That would
if it's
be
a
in-
pilot program, it probably should be the other way.
And that would be in the resolution.
Okay.
So, just to clarify, and we've discussed this a lot, but it occurred to me that as it is a pilot program, and there are things that work and don't work, it's the point of a pilot program is a learning curve, right? So if we see things that the Bay Constables report back to us, we can make those alterations in the first year as we
I would
go
also,
along?
I would also have it put in the resolution that we can rescind it at any time during that first year.
All right.
Can I ask, so, you know, I followed the controversy with the picnic area in the village and some of the battles about that. And, you know, I don't know the year where beach driving got prohibited. You know, in the old days, when I was a kid, you know, people drove on the beach in the middle of the summer. But one year, somebody passed, some town board said, no more driving on the beach in the summertime. And that was it,
From 9 AM to 6 PM.
from 9 AM
Yeah,
to
you can
6.
still go after 6
And I'm sure it
PM,
must have
yeah.
been controversial, but probably not as many people had four-wheel drives back then as they do today. It was a
Yeah, I
lot
mean,
of-
somebody also made the access, the town has done a very good job of providing the disabled access to the beach with, we have the blue mats and we have the special wheelchairs, you know, and to that point, I say that's great. I can tell you from personal experience, you know, my husband's grandmother had Parkinson's, and, You know, had you told her that you were gonna put her in the car and take her to the beach and put her in a special chair and get her onto she would never have gone, because she never would have wanted to put anybody through that. But let me tell you, when we drove onto the beach and stuck her in a chair in the sand, the smile on that woman's face to be on the beach was amazing.
So, but this goes beyond just people with physical
It's
disabilities.
families, it's, I'm
So
sure you'll hear
can you explain a little
tonight.
bit about that culture? Like, why is the parking lot, let's say at Hot Dog Beach, not enough? Like, why, explain
It's
the joy that people get
it's literally,
out
and
of
this is the whole thing, and people say it's beach.
really
It's not
more-
beach driving. We did it at Shinnecock, we did it at the picnic area. What you'll find is those, if we're limiting it literally to 30 cars, those 30 cars will probably be parked on the beach before anybody else gets to the beach on Sunday morning, and they'll still be there when you leave at 6 o'clock. It's a way for families to go and spend the entire day. You have a place in the back of your truck to put your kid down to sleep.
It's like camping?
It's like camp. I mean, we did it. We
Yeah,
went
it's not a
from
good
we went
example,
from doing
but-
the picnic area when my kids were really small to we actually ended up buying a camper and we camped at Shinnecock for every other week the entire summer. And even if we couldn't say that, we would get off work and we'd go to the camper. It was the best time those kids had. Their friends are there. It becomes like families go there and you meet up with other families. And it's just a day you literally spend from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6, 7 o'clock at night on the beach. And it's just, I can't, they can probably describe it better than I can. It's a community thing. And most of the people you find down there will be your first responders and your police officers and people that work and live in the community. And that's why really the picnic area, you can go down, it's only busy on Sundays because that's usually the only day any of these people have off. So,
Got it.
This was a request from people on the west side of the canal for way before any of us were even on the board. This is something that, you know, they had to go all the way to Southampton to take advantage of, whereas if we had it local for our locals, it was something that we could be proud of on this side too. So I think it's all part of that family atmosphere that she's putting together. You know, if you go to our bay beaches, especially after COVID, 4th of July weekend, East Landing is full of trucks, everybody's lined up, everybody's watching fireworks. It's not a hostile situation. It's a very nice, family-orientated area, and we're hoping this can, you know, take care of our locals on this side.
and it's also, like I have heard people complain about the proximity to Hot Dog, and I'm sensitive to that, and I do understand their concerns, because that is a very busy beach, especially now that we have a lifeguard,
Yeah, it's
we're
a
putting in
bathing beach.
bathrooms. So I think shifting it to the east of Triton and leaving Triton, you know, that open barrier and having Hot Dog be its own thing, I think would solve a lot of the conflict there. And like I said, it's not beach driving, it's beach parking.
Okay, so, any other questions?
The Bay
Sorry.
Constable, will we have to ask these things. Will we be backfilling a Bay Constable on Sundays? How does it work? Is someone going to be
The way
there
that we-
if there's 30
I-
trucks and
I had
and
a
the 31st
conversation with
and
them
5th?
about this, and we can either put out marked spots, like they do at Shinnecock County, where they do the campgrounds, where there's numbered spots, and most people are gonna get out of their truck, they're gonna walk down and see if a spot's open before they even drive on. And once it's full, like when it's full in the morning, the Bay Constables can put up a phone that says area full. And then everybody knows not to drive on.
I don't like the idea of marked spots on the beach. That seems
That's what, I
odd.
mean, that's what they do with the,
Maybe some
that's
sort
what they
of
do with the county, but I
counter-
mean, we could put the snow fence up
Count-
where it marks the end.
Mhm.
Like I said, this
That-
is a
right.
pilot program, these
It's
are
a pilot
things that
program.
we're
We
gonna
would-
have to.
Right, we would find out what works, what doesn't work. I wouldn't want the lifeguard to have to deal with things, you know, in
100%.
this way. You know, he or she
Yep.
has to be watching the water, and there's a couple of them over there anyway, but you know what happens. Somebody will run and get
And
the
that's why,
lifeguard.
that's why
I mean,
we said, I mean, and the individuals, I'm sure most of them here will tell you that this area will be policed, beyond policed by the people that are there that
I was
wanna
gonna
keep
say,
it.
can it, like the honor system self-policing?
It
if turns
100%
out to
will
a-
be.
Turns out to be a problem, yeah.
The people that are there are gonna call on anybody doing anything wrong immediately.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because I think that success is how people manage themselves there. And I
It's not gonna be a
appreciate that.
babysitting situation, I truly don't believe that that's going to be an
So,
issue.
any other questions? Then we'll go to the public.
I just wish we put the switchbacks at Triton on the other side of the parking lot instead of where they are now, because it is close.
That's what I'm saying, and if you
It's-
shift it to the east of Triton.
55 paces.
It gives you 150 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, we have the
Keep it in
map
front
up on the wall
keep
there
it-
too,
Keep
so.
it empty in front of.
Yeah, I would
The
keep it
beach.
empty in front of Triton so that if first responders need to get onto the beach, it's free and clear, and everything should go to the east. There's 300 feet of property that we own there.
Right, but when you were speaking, you said if we put it to the east, you wanted to have 150 plus 50?
No, it would be 150, take that 150 and move it to the east of Triton.
Right, but right now, we're 150 is inclusive of the road right away.
Well, then
so
we would
it's
add
50 on
50,
each
yeah,
side.
but it would be 150 total still.
So it would be 50 and plus 100.
Yeah.
So you go 100 feet to the east.
No, I would do 100 feet to the east, you're not gonna get, you're gonna need 150 feet.
Well, the limit is the
Well-
number of vehicles.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying, so.
it still leaves a
so you
150
would-
foot buffer to
so
the next
you would not be
property
able to
line.
park in the road right away of
I
Triton?
would rather cars didn't park in the road
Yeah,
right away.
Sure.
And put a fence down the
Yes.
beach, between the bathing beach and the truck?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So resolution say,
There is no resolution, this is just a public hearing.
okay, but the public hearing say exactly where the left and right,
It does say 150 feet, and it says it's
Based on the center
75
line?
feet based on the center line of Triton.
Change that out for the resolution.
Can you,
This was drafted by my colleague, Mark McRedmond in the town attorney's office. We can certainly change this. The substance of this public hearing is substantially the same, so we can certainly edit that resolution moving forward.
you don't feel like that would necessitate an reopening of the hearing?
I personally don't, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay,
No, I agree.
okay, all right, so let's go to the public. I have quite a number of cards of people who want to be heard on this. Going to take them in the order that they were received. Again, we ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Shorter is okay too. And I'll say who the individual is and who's on deck so that you can queue up behind so that we can move through these quicker. All right, James Williams, followed by Amy Paradise.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Councilman McNamara, I really appreciate you bringing this forward and getting this public meeting. Okay, the beach is a shared resource.
I'm just sorry, could you just state your name even though I said it?
Sure,
just
my
for the
name is
record?
Jim Williams. The beach is a shared resource. Everyone's entitled to use the beach. This is asking for 150 feet out of the 26 miles of town beach. We used to have it all, like you alluded to, down to smaller and smaller bits. There's a long tradition of spending days on the beach, like Cindy referenced. And being it's limited days, I think this is a really good idea, and I do hope that you folks move forward with this. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. All right, Amy Paradise is next. Amy will be followed by Kristen White.
Hi there. Amy Paradise again. I'm a long-term resident of Hampton Bays. I've never liked cars and trucks on the beach. I believe the beach should be a quiet place, absent vehicles. We're inundated with traffic as it is. I have questions about safety, and I'm really concerned that it become a precedent and you do this all the way down the beach. I don't like it.
Thank you,
Thank
Amy.
you.
Thank you.
All right, Kristen White is next, followed by Jagger Wilson.
Good evening. My name is Kristen White. I am a lifetime resident of the town of Southampton, and I happen to live on this side of the town of Southampton. So my family has enjoyed going to what has now become known as the picnic beach, but was never known that traditionally, for a very long time. I have memories of there as a child. My parents have memories of being there as a child. My grandparents do. And I know there was a comment made about there were less four-wheel drives, but that didn't stop us. We just knew how to air down. As was brought up earlier, we used to be able to drive all up and down the beach responsibly and respectively, all times of the day, all times of the year. That changed in the late 70s, early 80s, at least within the area that is on this side of the canal to Bridgehampton and including the village of Southampton. And that was an effort that was made by some homeowners who had some deep pockets who got some village politicians on their side. I think that this is a wonderful idea. I think that this will alleviate some of the cars that are on the east side of the canal by allowing those families who are town residents. How we like to be reminded on the east side of the canal that there are people on the west side of the canal who are town of Southampton residents as well. And this would give them an area to call their own and to continue a tradition that has been going on for not just generations, but hundreds of years. As a mother of 3 small children and the wife of a volunteer fire department member, I would not have been able to go to the beach on a regular basis with my small children if it was not for the ability to drive onto the beach. I actually spoke at a deposition with the Village of Southampton, and what I explained was to get from the parking lot to the beach with 3 small kids and everything that requires, I would have to find somebody on the beach or in the parking lot that I trust to watch 2 of those kids while I shuttle the 3rd one over the dunes and over the walkway. So this is a way for especially young mothers. We go there during the week. We watch each other's kids. And I just think this would be a wonderful program, and I hope that it's successful. And I do not see it becoming something that is going to be pushed and expand. I think that you'll find that this is probably all the space you'll need, and will make a lot of people very happy. So thank you for your time, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. All righty. All right, Jagger, hang on. Marissa Bridge is going to follow Jagger. All right, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Jagger, and I'm here to support additional beach access.
Thank you. Well done. Lots of applause for Jagger.
That's her son.
Well, it's great to have kids come out here and approach
It is.
local government.
It is. Hello, I'm Marissa Bridge, the new president of the East Quogue Civic Association and Beautification Committee. Hampton Bays and East Quogue have some of the most beautiful beaches on Long Island. They bring thousands of visitors to the area every year. Permanent residents treasure the beaches and visit them year-round. Triton Beach has been improved a lot over the last several years and is now a destination beach for local families. However, relaxing with one's family and having children run around playing is not compatible with having trucks driving in and out of the beach area. There is the danger of people being hit, the vehicle noise, and the inhalation of toxic engine fumes. Walking and tripping over tire tracks is not a fun thing to do. It's not difficult to walk from the parking lot to the beach. Everyone does it. Aside from the human issues, driving vehicles on the beach causes significant long-term damage to our environment. In coastal dune environments, four-wheel driving can contribute to physical challenges in the structure of the beaches and the destruction of dune vegetation. It can introduce and spread a variety of pest species and diseases into the coastal environment, leading to a significant loss of biodiversity. A healthy dune system is also an important buffer, acting to protect the mainland from erosion and storm events. Southampton Town routinely pays to have the sand on our beaches replenished. I don't understand the logic of starting a new policy to allow additional beach driving that will further contribute to the erosion of our shoreline, which we will then have to pay to build up again. It makes no economic or environmental sense to me. Please vote no on the proposal to allow additional beach driving at Triton Beach. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Marissa. All right, Francis Adamowitz.
Adam Chesky.
Adam Chesky?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, I
No worries.
mispronounced it. Followed by Marty Listle.
Do you want us to sign in?
I know an Adamowitz, that's
No, no.
probably why I said it.
Adam Chesky.
Exactly, so Adam Chesky.
Good evening. My name is Francis Adam Chesky. I've been going to the picnic area since I was a little child, before you needed any permits to drive on the beach, as stated. The rules were changed back in the 70s, I believe. I think it was around 74, to be exact. We've been limited and limited and limited. There's 26 miles of beach that the town has to access, and adding another 150 feet for 30 trucks to access the beach, I think should be a shared resource for everybody. My wife's mother has Alzheimer's. She just passed away. But there's no way we could bring her to the beach without driving onto the beach. And like Cynthia said, when you bring her down there and you sat her in the chair and she sat there and looked at the water and the smile that she got on her face made me even have a bigger smile. And I think that having four-wheel drive access, it's not going to be, people aren't going to be running on it, like you said. Somebody said they're going to be running on and off the beach. They're not going to be running on the beach. They're going to get on that spot. They're going to stay there. They're going to stay there at that beach. They're not going to be driving on and off, doing 100 miles an hour. There's a 10-mile speed limit on the beach. If they go past that, somebody calls, boom, you get a ticket. You get thrown off, and that's it. You lose your spot and maybe your permit for the year. I'm all for driving on the beach. Just that little area. It's like I said, we were able to drive on the beach all day long. And then we got shut down because some rich homeowners had deep pockets and suggested to the village that, hey, let's stop the driving. And just shortened us. It was going from Halsey Neck all the way to the inlet. And then all of a sudden it went from Halsey Neck to Road D. And now it is from Road F to Shinnecock. So let's open this up. Let's try it. Like you said, let's try it. Let's do it. It's a good thing. I understand people don't like driving on the beach. People are going to drive on the beach all day long. I know you don't like the ruts, but there's going to be ruts there anyway because we're allowed to drive on the beach from 6 p.m. to 9 a.m. So, and like you said, they rake the beach, we replenish it. My tax pay for your replenishing the beaches too. We go to the picnic area. We go there, we clean the beach better than it was, you know. We go there, clean the beach, and we leave it left cleaner than it was when we got there.
30 seconds.
So, please, say yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Marty. All right, so Marty Listle,
That's correct.
and followed by, is it Mark?
Mark Baruch.
Baruch? Thank you, Mark.
Good evening, my name is Marty Listle. I've been a resident out here since 1964. The beach has always been part of my life here, and driving on it, I've done it since 1964. But now I'm 80, and now I'm disabled and a veteran. And it means a big deal to me if I can get in my truck and go down to the beach and enjoy the beach like everybody else, because otherwise I'm sitting in the parking lot. I can't go walking on sand, and it's important for me and many others that can't physically go up and down the sands. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mark, you're next, followed by Elizabeth Jackson.
Before I came to the meeting, I was rummaging, I was down in my basement. I look at this picture every day as I walk out of the house before I start my day. I just thought I'd share it with everybody. It's a picture of the town hall right here with the Hampton Surf Club. Mark Berge from Southampton Village, Southampton Town now. I moved out into the North Sea area my whole life, and I am the president of the Hampton Surf Fishing Club. And I thought this picture would be interesting because all of the gentlemen in this picture are of the Hampton Surf Club that established itself in 1958, and they're all in their Willie's beach buggies in front of the town hall. It is from the time my grandfather in the picture, and I can mention all the other names in here, Mr. Westerhoffs and the Wojciechs and Johnny Grabowski and Mike Rotuno. So these are names of individuals that have been in Southampton their whole lives and are no longer with us. And at the time, my grandfather passed away when I was 11. So everything that he showed me prior to 11 was in Southampton, riding in that Jeep, going down Dune Road and enjoying what Southampton had offered between the bay and the ocean and the long sandy roads that take you to the inlet, of course, it's cherished in my memory. Bring it to today. These gentlemen, as well as Marty just mentioned, 90% of the community in our area are here and are living on the dream of what the beach offers us. If we lose, we've lost much access. What little access is left doesn't help us, and you all know that. You use the beach. You share that responsibility as the privileges as well. So I think all I want to say is to represent all the community people, the fishermen, the beach goers, the day trippers, and having what even this pilot program, even what's little's left, give it a shot. You're representing, you're working for our community, and I know in your hearts you all want to see it happen. With what little's left, don't give it up, give it a shot, and it might add an opportunity for all the youngsters in here for their future. I appreciate your efforts for us all along, and appreciate the community for coming out and making this the best effort to give us a little access, okay?
Right.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we got Elizabeth Jackson next, followed by Ann Algieri.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Jackson. I'm also a lifelong resident of East Quogue. Some of the concerns that have been brought up amongst some of the other community members are positives and negatives as we've been chatting about this and wondering how it might be. First off, listening to it presented today helped give a little more information. Not a lot of people understood what it meant, and a lot of them were saying they were promoting, oh, we want to drive on the beach, we want to drive on the beach. Well, that is a distinctly different thing than what is being proposed. So even those supporting it are not necessarily understanding. And that is a concern I have for when it gets put into play, if it should, as to what would prevent people from driving further once they get access onto the beach there. Because as it stands now, from what I recall, is during the on-season when you're not supposed to be driving those beaches, the trustee access points are all just barricaded in some capacity. If you need an emergency vehicle to get through, they can take up the barricade and let someone through. But now, if they're open, would that not lead people to think, well, I'm just going to try to get over to this road, or that? Like, it's going to be hard to put up signage to explain all that if you don't have someone monitoring it. If what it's sounding like here would be that only 30 people would be on the beach and the monitoring would be self-moderating, so then is this really a proposition for a proposed activity for the same 30 families to be at the beach every Sunday? And when you go to the beach and park in the parking lot, or the other family's going to wonder, well, why can't we be those families? I have never gotten the chance to camp at Shinnecock, but on the canals of the southern side, but I hear that it's very, people wait to get their spot in line, to get their ticket to be able to go. If this doesn't have any of that set up, then if it is the same 30 people, it'll become more of a private fishing club or private, family club, which is great for those people, but it's going to be kind of souring to everyone else that's around. I'm also not sure how plovers factor in. Plovers and the rules and regulations, federally speaking, probably weren't around in the 50s when this was the heyday. Also, lots was different back then. If the plovers decided to set up camp in this area, also going to be not something that's promoted to have vehicles around. I personally can't 100% understand when we have such a great spoils of, we have Hot Dog Beach right there with beautiful parking lot. We have Triton Lane with parking. Have that little bit of difference to not have a vehicle sitting on the beach all day long, putting potential oil in the sand and things like that. It just doesn't make sense to me why we would have to open all of this up if it's only going to be those days with 30 people. If you open it up and you say, oh, it's a success, how do you measure success? If a pilot program is being run but nobody's there monitoring the names of the people that are there, I mean, not that you want to have it as a regulated craziness, but how will you really know if it's not just the same 30 people that are always showing up at sunrise to park there every day at this program?
30 seconds.
Things like that, as long as signage along the beach. People have been really excited about what you've done with the Hot Dog Beach, and I've heard lots of stories of people going every day that they're teachers and they're the same people and they show up. If you have to turn your head and you see a line of cars parked there all day, it is a very different environment for all those people, anyone walking the beach. I'm just not sure that it's reaching enough with this, and to say that you'd open up all the roads would be a completely different ballgame. But even just this one, I'm not sure that it's gonna accomplish enough for enough people in the town to open up all the can of worms that it could create.
3 minutes.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
I just want to say that Plovers would shut this down immediately. It's shut down the picnic area, so.
Right, we still have to abide by all the federal rules. so-
Yes.
All right, and before you speak, Al Algieri is next.
Okay. Good evening, Supervisor, members of the Town Board. I oppose the beach driving pilot program presently being proposed. Presently, trucks with four-wheel drive can access both this beach and many others along Dune Road if they have a trustee permit. And they can do this throughout the year. The only time they are curtailed is during the summer months from approximately May 15 through September 15 between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. That time is reserved for beachgoers to go to the beaches without worrying about trucks driving around them or over their children. Although they will be parked, they still have to come in and out, and they're there. Some history. Hot Dog Beach was formerly a privately owned establishment sitting right next to the town beach at Triton Lane. Hot Dog Beach was known for loud music, heavy drinking, partying, etc., which spilled over to the town beach next door, and as a result, many residents shunned the town beach. It was not considered a family beach, nor a beach where one would go to relax and enjoy the natural beauty of the area. However, that has changed. The club no longer exists, and the Hot Dog Beach was purchased by the town. Ramps for wheelchair access were built, and there is a lovely and well-built walk down to the beach. The beach is right next to the town beach on Triton Lane, and it's now frequented by families with their children and residents who love the pristine beauty of the area. There are no facilities, no pavilion, no paved parking lot on Triton Lane. It is very low-key. There are some houses to the west, but few to the east, and one can enjoy the area in an almost natural setting. This proposal would destroy all that. It would make a parking lot on the beach for 30 trucks. It would be dangerous for the beachgoers and the children playing and running on the beach. Someone might say that under this pilot program, access during the day in the summer months would only be permitted on 2 holidays and Sundays, but that is precisely when residents who are working during the week and on Saturdays go to the beach. It would take that precious opportunity away. The rules presently in place have worked for the citizens for a long time. My husband and I owned a 4-wheel drive truck in the past. My husband would take our son surf casting on the beach with the truck. We too would have family parties on the beach with the truck, but all within the permitted times. It worked. So why change the rules? In a letter to the editor in the Southampton Press, Mr. De Palma from Hampton Bays attributed the reason for the trustees pushing to turn our beaches into parking lots to settle a lawsuit brought by the homeowners in Southampton Village who sued to stop parking on the beach known as the picnic area. As part of the settlement negotiations, the town, he wrote, is promising a good faith effort to convert beaches west of the inlet into parking lots. However, this will not reduce the demand for parking at the picnic area in Southampton Village. The trustees should not be trying to solve their problem in one place at our expense. I hope you will reject this proposal and keep the present rules in place. Now, many people here have mentioned that you could drive along the beach. There were no restrictions, but Southampton Town is not the same as it was many years ago. These beaches are more populated. We are more populated. And what worked years ago does not work.
30 seconds.
I sympathize with people. My husband, too, has a problem getting on the beach, but we manage it. I sympathize with people who have handicaps. But I don't think we have so few areas where we have this natural beauty left
3
that is
minutes.
untouched, that we find some other solution. So I hope that you reconsider. I hope that you consider rejecting it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ann.
Thank you.
All right, Al, you are next. Al, you are followed by...
Good evening.
Catherine Dawson is next.
Al Algieri, past president of the East Quogue Civic Association and a member of the board today. I have the opinion about whose idea it is to change a law that's been in effect that I know of since 50 years ago. I fished from a pickup truck, and I had no problem. What's the motive for this change? Until we learn the motive, I will say no to everything you propose to do. Say no and eliminate the problem now. The other thing is, the Civic Association was not informed in a substantial amount of time to inform our 500 family members to come down tonight like we planned to get the 5 fishermen here tonight. So let's keep it open so we can inform our members and take place here and have our position that we apply for every year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next is Catherine Dawson, followed by Ann Ryback.
Hello. Thank you, Supervisor and members of the Town Board, for listening to our community feedback. I'm Katie Dawson. I'm a lifelong resident of Southampton Town. I grew up in Southampton Village. My family's been here since the 1600s. I now live in East Quogue. And I want to preface what I'm about to say by saying that I fully support drive-on access on our beaches. It is a long-held tradition, something that I personally enjoyed with my family growing up. It's an important part of our culture. I've had many wonderful days at Road G, and I support access. However, what I oppose is the location that you have chosen to make this beach access. I am one of those people who goes to Hot Dog Beach every day in the summer, or as we call it, Hot Dog Beach Club. For those of us who are not members of actual beach clubs, I'm a local person. I am not mad that the trucks are ugly in front of my beach house. This is a beach that we use every single day. And it has become a haven for us because of the bathrooms and the lifeguards, because I speak for many of us who couldn't be here tonight because this is a tough time when you have little kids, a Tuesday at 6 o'clock. But we are moms of young children who love Hot Dog Beach because our kids can run and play and be free in a way that they're not able to do anymore out in the community. And I'm very concerned about how this will change not only the entire aspect, the vibe of our beach, obviously to have vehicles, but mostly primarily I'm concerned about safety. Our kids run, they dig holes, there's babies wrapped in towels napping under beach umbrellas. We love Hot Dog Beach, and I sort of feel that this decision was made from a very sort of logistical standpoint of, okay, we own this beach, but not taking into consideration what Hot Dog Beach means to the community of East Quogue. It is a local beach. People are there every day. Last summer, the last day the lifeguards were there, we took a group photo with all the kids, and they all started chanting, Rory, Rory, who is their school mascot. There is community built at this beach every day, and what Councilwoman McNamara had stated about this being a beautiful family community, there already is a beautiful family community at this beach. And to bring trucks onto it and have 30 four-wheel drive vehicles, yes, they're parked, but they have to come on and off. We're there throughout the entire day, is going to change our beach, and it presents an inherent risk. Anytime you have small children and vehicles in the same place, there's going to be a risk, especially kids who are not used to the culture of having trucks on the beach with them. And I oppose this proposition, and I implore you to vote no. This is a place that is incredibly special to us.
30 seconds.
And it is one of the very few lifeguarded beaches that is not overcrowded and inundated with people every summer. It is a local paradise to us, and we beg you not to take that away. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ann Ryback, followed by Chelsea Weisbord.
Thank you. Thank you all for your service. Thank you, Supervisor and member of the boards, for having the community hearing feedback this evening. My name is Ann Ryback. I am also a longtime East Quogue resident and mom of 3 school-aged children. We live where we live for a big reason because of our glorious summers. Our home beach is Hot Dog Beach. We were ecstatic last summer when the town
added a lifeguard station, so thank you for that. It was a welcome addition to the amazing guarding services that the town provides across all of Southampton. We were there every day last summer. Katie is my buddy from the beach. I'm not going to do as great a service as speaking from the heart, I guess, as she did, so I'll just read what I wrote. Given the influx of residents and visitors to our community in the summer months, the lifeguarded beaches of Ponquag and Tiana have become overcrowded, particularly on weekends and holidays. Similarly, East Quogue side beaches like Dolphin are also incredibly busy. Hot Dog has been a dream for those of us who rely on safe swimming with lifeguards and live in the western part of the town of Southampton. I am incredibly disappointed the town is considering a drive-on beach access, particularly at this location. Obviously, Triton and Hot Dog are considered by most to be one beach. I note on your board there it has it as one beach listed. It's on most of the town websites as one beach. It does seem impossible to me that, given the access point, 150 feet, 30 trucks, I know you're contemplating moving it. It still seems really, really, really tight. I believe it's incredibly reckless and unsafe for the town to consider a drive-on beach adjacent to a lifeguarded swimming beach. This is not what I believe picnic to be. It is one area, and there's no lifeguard, there's no sort of like gathering of individuals outside of that 4x4 drive-on community. That is not Hot Dog. That is not Triton right now. I will say this proposal does raise a number of questions, some of which you've addressed. So, were our town lifeguards consulted with this proposal, right? What is their feedback? What is the plan to safely to define beach access? What is the town proposing regarding signage, fencing, Bay Constable Patrol? And finally, and this is raised by others, there is a perceived view that this proposal is coming from a lot of the litigation problems, et cetera, that the town has had with picnic. And for those of us that live in this community, that saddens us that, this is the answer, or this is something that's being, considered, if that perception might have an inkling of truth. I personally have a permit to drive my truck on the beach. I love driving my truck on the beach. I do it from 9 p.m. to 6 p.m. to 9 a.m.
30 seconds.
This is not about access. I understand the desire. It is about safety for our local families, and I don't believe that that's possible given the proximity of Hot Dog. So I am personally vehemently against this pilot program for specifically drive-on access at Triton. Please change the location to one that does not have swimmers adjacent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Chelsea is followed by Jeremy Rand.
Good evening. My name is Chelsea Weisbord, and I'm an attorney at Sawcloth Stern. We represent the trustees of the freeholders of the commonalty of the town of Southampton, that's always been a mouthful, in litigation pertaining to beach driving at the picnic area, and I'm here today on their behalf. During the course of the litigation, we've learned that not only the plaintiffs, but people who utilize the picnic area are interested in seeing additional areas open to beach driving during the summer daytime hours, particularly on the western side of the inlet. The trustees have opened additional bay beach areas to summer daytime driving to provide additional access for vehicles in response to that demand. The trustees have asked the town board to consider this additional area where the trustees would allow parking on its right-of-way on the end of Triton Lane, and the town would allow some additional parking on either side of that right-of-way, which could provide an additional area in response to the public's request. We've learned during the litigation that beach driving has a long and significant history that spans multiple generations. The trustees believe that opening the additional area for some parking will be beneficial for the community, especially for individuals who have an issue with accessing the beach. For instance, the elderly, people with limited mobility, and families with young children. And I believe there were several comments attesting to those categories of people tonight. To the extent some people are concerned about safety, currently, people can drive on the beach all hours of the day at all times of the year other than during daytime summer hours. This is just one additional spot for parking during those summer daytime hours. I'd also like to point out that residents have been driving on the picnic area for generations, and there's no record of there ever being an accident involving a motor vehicle on the beach. Also, we're talking about a small area. People would be driving on from Triton Lane, and they would park their car in that area. So we're really talking about beach parking more so than beach driving. And to the extent some people are concerned about settling litigation.
30 seconds.
Yes, there is a lawsuit, one that threatens beach parking at the picnic area. And yes, there are discussions about trying to resolve it. But we learned in the litigation that there are not a lot of areas to provide for summer daytime driving, and it's also been expressed in the context of the litigation that people who use the picnic area would like more areas. This will provide that. And just finally, regarding any pipe or ploving nests, the trustees enforce those regulations and they take that responsibility to protect the wildlife very seriously. And this would be subject to environmental regulations. I believe somebody already mentioned that earlier. So just like the picnic area, if there's a nest, it would be subject to closure. Thank you.
Thank you. Right.
Thank you.
All right, Jeremy Rand is next, followed by Bill Kearns.
Can we have people step back from the mic a little bit?
Sure. Is this good?
Yes.
Great. My name is Jeremy Rand from Flanders. I am all for this beach. I would hope that the people here opposing it, I'm going to speak to you tonight, not to the board, so excuse me.
Well, you sort of have to speak.
Okay, sorry. So, as far as the safety is concerned, I understand I have my children here, and I understand what the girls are saying about driving on the beach, but I believe that the town would take proper measures for us to have a lane to drive on, to get on our beach, and keep hot dogs separate. I understand that the environmental issues are going on, with the houses going up, and everybody crowding the beaches, but you have to understand, we're just families. We're blue-collar people, we're policemen, we're firemen, just like Cindy said, and we take that beach very seriously. We do. We take the cleaning up, the policing of it. We are our own police down there. And I understand that the people from Dolphin Beach and from Hot Dog have concerns about the trucks, but give us a shot. Just give us a shot for 1 year and to see how we do. It's 30 cars. I believe the town's doing the right thing by keeping us separated. If we screw it up, take it away. But I promise you, if you just come down to the picnic area on Southampton, I drive from Flanders there just to get there, to go to see my friends and family. You'll understand that it's just like your hot dog, where you take all your pictures with the lifeguards. We're the same way. The same people go down there, they enjoy their time, they bring all their stuff on the beach, they dig their holes, they play with their kids. We leave the beach just like we left it. I think this is great. I know we've been fighting this for years and years and years, and we're fighting pipe and plovers, we're fighting this, we're fighting the building of our beaches, but I just think we deserve one shot, this 1 year, to see how it goes. It's a pilot program. And I know concerns people say, oh, you're going to give them this shot and they're going to take more beach. They're not. They're going to give us our 150 feet and they're going to say, that's it. I don't think we'll need a bay constable down there. I think our own beach people will take care of the policies down there. Hey, slow down, get your sticker, park the right way, don't leave anything on the beach. I really do. I've been down there so many times, and I feel bad that people oppose it. I wish you would just give us a chance to take a look at what it's about. It is about family, and I understand your concerns about the environment and about the trucks and the pollution, but man, we have much more problems than just trucks. If you want to talk about problems, I see the buildup of West Hampton, that little private at the other end, and how they've built up East Quogue and the beaches down there and the houses and the size of the houses that are now on your side, over by us on Flanders from Hot Dog Beach up. So I understand. I've watched it. I can't believe how big the houses are. I mean, and they have the right to complain about our little trucks and when they're building these mansions with these hardscapes. And you want to talk about environmental issues. They got air conditioning, plumbing, heating, sewer. So my little truck and my little kids, I don't think it's going to be a problem on Hot Dog Beach. And just give us a shot. If you don't like it,
We'll all meet back here next year, and we'll talk about maybe someplace else.
3 minutes.
But thank you very much.
All right, Bill Kern, followed by
Kern.
Marianne Wright.
Kearns.
Kern.
With an S.
Kearns.
With an S.
With an S, Kearns.
Good evening, Supervisor and Town Board members. William Kearns, East Quogue. I've lived in East Quogue for 33 years. My first reaction was, why would you create a pilot program for a program, or why would you change a law that's going to impact 30 people? You know, a vast majority of the people in this town would not be impacted by this law positively. You're going to have 30 people on the beach 1 day a week. Why would you rewrite a law to do that? A quick question, is Triton Lane going to be closed to parking?
No.
Okay, so that's going to stay open. I've been at this beach for many years. My family grew up there, and I've seen it grow from a beach that was really basically unused to one that's very, very populated on the weekends now, even during the week. And a lot of children, a lot of families, and I think that the truck situation, a lot of people spoke about beach driving. We're not talking about beach driving, we're talking about making the parking lot at the beach bigger and bringing it onto the beach. So I think that it's going to be tricky. I see a lot of children playing on the north side of the beach, close to the dune where these trucks are going to be. They're playing ball, they're playing with their fathers, they're playing lacrosse, whatever they're doing. A lot of young kids running around there. And I don't think this is the place to have this. I'm not in favor of it at all, to be honest with you. But you wouldn't do it at Tiana, you wouldn't do it at Ponquag. I don't know why you're doing it here. It doesn't make any sense. I think that at the end of the day, with all due respect to the people that like to four-wheel drive, I think there's this big safety issue involved here. I think that the nature of the beach will be changed dramatically. And another question I have is, pilot program leading to what? What's the end game here? When is it going to stop? Is it going to grow to 7 days? Is it going to grow to every other beach on Dune Road in Southampton Town? People were talking about driving. We're not talking about driving, because you can't drive to Tiana Beach, it's too busy. You can't drive to Ponquag Beach, it's too busy. There's no reason to have a parking lot on this beach, which is what we're talking about here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Marianne Wright.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Full disclosure, my name is Marianne Wright. I live in Hampton Bays. I'm a hot dog beach resident, is really what I am. Professional beach goer. I recognize some of these faces. It's been our long-standing tradition that we just park our cars and carry our crap onto the beach, even if it takes 2 or 3 times. So 30 families are kind of blowing up our parade and our tradition. Again, I'm with the other women. I drive on the beach. I go, after 6 o'clock, we do our barbecue. We have West Landing is where I live. Kathy Goldfarb, we've called upon you many times during pandemic, and we're grateful for the responses. So I'm a little more on board than I was earlier, because I feel like the snowball is going to come down the hill, and maybe this is our opportunity to nudge it. So it's really like anything in the Hamptons: location, location, location. This isn't the location. That gentleman was absolutely right. You wouldn't do this, Ponquag Tiana. We just identified this beach. I was heartbroken that you guys got a lifeguard and a potty, to tell you the truth. So, as a taxpayer, we have seen the precedents that was set in Amagansett with Truck Beach. And that's a pretty big can of worms. We already experienced this with Southampton Town and the picnic area. So there's 5 houses right after that 150 feet. 150 feet I'm a smoker. I can't even sprint that far, but let me tell you something. That's not that much room. That's 30 vehicles that I'm going to look at in my paved paradise, put up a parking lot. So in the beginning, when you mentioned Road K and L, what was the impasse there that they're not viable?
It's county land.
It's county land. All right, because there's no houses there.
I know.
And we're gonna end up in the same taxpayer situation, ultimately, you who are heckling behind my head the whole time, that with anybody that disagreed with what you had to say, we're gonna end up spending the same money. It's my money and your money, whether it's heckled money, pro or against money, because those homeowners are gonna complain. I mean, that's inevitable. That's taxpayer money, I can guarantee you, that's gonna be spent. So I'm not as adverse to it as I was, because I want to be respectful of what your traditions, but I need you guys to be respectful of our traditions.
30 seconds.
Okay? This is part of Southampton Village's kicking the can to our side of the canal. We're not a dumping ground. Hampton Bays has already spoken, you guys know about that. Don't come at us like that. We're scrappers. Thank you for your time. I'm vehemently opposed to Triton Lane being the place. Pick another, you know, I'm not NIMBYism, but please maybe reconsider. Stay well, guys.
All right, so
You
that's,
see what you said.
all right, so that's the last card that I have. We'll go online. So if you're watching from home or some other remote location and you want to be heard at public hearing number 2, this is on the pilot program for beach parking along Triton Lane, East Quogue. Now is the time to be heard, so just click the raise hand icon found on your screen, usually at the bottom, and then we'll know that you're looking to join us in our meeting.
I have one.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Hey, Steve.
Can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I think this is a great idea. I like Cindy, I camp at Shinnecock or Cupsog or Montauk, and we really enjoy those beaches. It's been a while since I've even been to the Southampton Town Beach, just because of the, you know, carrying everything and all that. And I think that this is a great opportunity. There's so much beach that we could easily find a solution here. And if you don't like the cars on the beach, then you have like what, 30 beaches more maybe that you can go to. I mean, there's got to be a way we can, you know, make everyone happy here, where there's, you know, certain beaches can have, you know, something like this and certain beaches can't, and there's just plenty of space for everyone. I think that, you know, even the people that were kind of against it said, like, you know, we're not against the idea, they're just not here. And I think that's, you know, that's great. I don't know, you know, maybe there is a better location, or maybe, you know, I guess just in general, I just think this is such a great idea. And yeah, we would love to see it. I'd love to go there with my family, and yeah, anything we can do to help. I really, really appreciate this. I think this is great that you guys are sort of listening to new ideas and, you know, moving forward instead of just, this is just the way it is. You know, this great board to see that, you know, things are able to change and make them better. And I think, you know, seeing what it will become will be exciting, and you know, I think it will be great. So thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks.
No other hands.
Steve, what's it?
Gifford.
Gifford? He's an East Quogue resident. Where's East Quogue?
I think Remsenburg.
Remsenburg.
I used to live in East Quogue. I moved recently to Remsenburg.
Okay.
To Scan, sorry.
Right.
And I hope you guys too aren't, I couldn't talk before about the firefighter credit, but we already get the 10% firefighter credit, so hopefully you guys aren't considering taking that away.
No, not at all.
Because we have, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
Thanks for volunteering. Okay, Charles, anyone else online?
No, sir.
All right, I'm gonna go back to our audience here. Is anyone who hasn't been heard, who wanted to but didn't fill out a card, sir?
Should I go first?
Yep. You're gonna have to identify yourself.
My name is Jeff Neubauer. I live in East Quogue. I foresee a couple issues that just from sitting there and listening to everyone talk, and it's definitely polarized the crowd. But I've camped, last year 41 days, 42 days on Shinnecock and Montauk. I know how crowded it can get. I also foresee things like people that can drive in the morning for fishing might just scoop on over and park their car in front. And then you got that situation where same 30 people are getting the spot every week. Now that's going to cause some people to line up on Dune Road and just wait there until they can get in. And then who monitors it? Then what kind of self-policing are we talking about here? Are there going to be incidents on the beach? Do I want that kind of environment where a fellow townsperson is regulating me based on what? Are there laws and procedures going to be posted? I see a whole bunch of worms coming out of this can. I do, however, really appreciate driving on the beach. I don't think Dolphin, Hot Dog Beach, is the right beach to be next to. I do think looking for another situation, if it's about people that need access, maybe they have some sort of handicap option where they can drive on, and those people can be accommodated. But if we're talking about 30 cars for the good of the town, that ratio seems a little low to me. The placement of it certainly is an issue, but the consideration of the many for the few is also an issue. Perhaps maybe there's another beach. I mean, we do have, as many people said, 26 miles of coastline. I would like to see it happen, or maybe hours extended, because I love surfing, driving my pickup on, just walking out, getting back in my car and changing and having all that. But I also see people could just leave their car there early in the morning. Then other people meet them. Oh, you got the car? Okay, it's set there. All of these little logistics and games will get played, and it's very hard to predict how this plays out to the many. So for that reason, I think right now it needs to be thought, and I thank you for bringing this, but this really needs to be considered on multiple levels.
30 seconds.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else
Thank
who
you.
has not spoken, but didn't fill out a card? All right. Cindy, I actually had a question for you. On the K, Road K and L, because I had looked at that too. That's, just on a Sunday.
That was the first place I looked at and saw there was
Yeah,
nothing anywhere.
Because it's very far away from any of our
Other county.
bathing beaches. So let me ask my question. So did we ask the county whether we could do it or not?
I don't know if it ever got that far. I think it was just because it would be open to anybody with a county permit at that point.
Oh, so we couldn't limit it to town residents?
We couldn't limit it to town residents.
Because then, like, the county does definitely have vehicles on the beach at certain places.
Yeah, but it gets even more harder to patrol, because I know just from camping at Suffolk County, when Smith Point Beach gets closed because of plovers or other issues, they all come to the county park, and it gets inundated. So I don't know that the residents would have a fair shot at even, what I mean? If it was open to the whole county and that became known that was basically a drive-on beach for the county, I don't think it's something I would want.
So that's the main issue, is that
the
we
main
couldn't
issue.
restrict it to our residents. And so
Not
those-
opposed to, nobody's opposed to looking at other issues, at other areas. This one was where I said that I would rather, the trustees, like I said, they could at their next meeting say, we're gonna let 10 cars or 5 cars park in our 50-foot right-of-way, and they could do that tomorrow. That's their right-of-way on the beach. I would rather keep that 50-foot buffer to Hot Dog and take it on ourselves to give the 150 feet with the Hot Dog, with Triton being the buffer to Triton.
Well, they could potentially
with
do
the hot
that.
dog.
They could do that at all their road ends.
All their road ends, right now, they could open to daytime beach parking, yes.
I have one more.
Oh, okay. All right. Who do we have coming on?
Stephanie McNamara.
Oh, all right, Stephanie, you are on. Can we see if we can hear you?
Hi, thank you. Yes, I just unmuted. Thank you for bringing this to the town, to the citizens for public hearing. Like everyone else in the, not everyone else, but the people east of the canal were saying earlier, I think that this is a good idea to try to open another area that is west of the canal. I understand some of the concerns that the people of East Quogue have, but as you were just mentioning, maybe there are other road ends that, or other trustee roads that this could be done on. So I would encourage you to continue to try to find a way, whether it's at Triton, as Cindy was just saying, to move it so that it's further away from Hot Dog Beach or one of the other trustee roads over there. But I think it's important that the people that are west of the canal have the opportunity to drive on and enjoy a similar picnic area to what we have on the east side. So thank you, and I am in favor of this.
All right, thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else online?
No more.
All right, and nobody else here, so Sandy, what's your pledge? Do you want to close the hearing? Do you want to leave
We
it?
can leave it open for 2 weeks. Like I said, this was asked by a lot of individuals and also the trustees that we have this conversation, and I'm happy we had this conversation. We heard a lot of people against, a lot of people for, a lot of different things that I think we can now digest and think about. And, you know, it was definitely worthy of letting people come and speak.
So, because, we had one person from this.
There's no resolution even drafted on
I
this.
know. So the question, I guess, is do you want to close the public hearing and leave the written record open?
Yes.
What I'm thinking, though, is we have some time here, and we did have at least one person say that he felt there wasn't enough time to let people know about
We
it.
can have another one on,
So could we have, can we adjourn it and have one more public hearing on it?
Sure.
Or-
May
So
9th.
that people don't say we didn't really consider.
Yeah, we could, I'm fine with that. Let as many people speak as want to speak. That's what
Okay,
this is
so,
for.
That's sort of my thinking. So
Sure.
May
9th.
May 9th's a daytime, but we can do, we'll have Zoom too, so.
Before we adjourn, I'd like to just bring up some things for the trustees and for you to consider, because this is a request from the trustees, so I would, right?
Yes.
Okay. And just so we know, and I want to clarify this, the reason why it's coming to us is because we control mean high water to the dunes, to the crest of the dunes, right? So it's that section of the beach is the reason why this is being brought to the Southampton Town Board. Is that correct? Back to be somebody? Okay,
right.
good.
Outside of- yeah, outside of their 50-foot
sorry. I don't know if
easement.
I'm talking
There's
to the attorney.
the trustees.
Outside of their 50-foot easement.
Pass or
Yeah,
pass.
you know what?
Well, we own,
but
these are our
that's-
properties, these are our beaches.
Right. Triton is our beach, and there is a trustee easement to the mean high water line. And that's for the public edification, so it's before us. So if the trustees were going to go to the county or ask the county, they would be asking that same question from mean high water to the dune.
Yeah,
And
the trustees
we're gonna need to
didn't-
know if the trustees actually did go to the county.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have to, they came to us for this specifically. If they wanted to do this
Because they like this spot.
at Road K or Road L, they could. They would have to go then to the county versus us and get permission from the county, because those are county beaches.
So the county with 1.5 million people, I understand the inundation if everybody in the county comes out to Southampton. Southampton has 69,000 people. Do we think that this is not going to be inundated? And that's just a rhetorical question. I mean, hopefully, people would use this, which kind of gets me to the monitoring. That is something I believe it's going to have to be addressed. Some folks definitely brought some things up here about, driving fast, driving down the beach, what happens if rejecting, pulling a permit. You pull somebody's permit, my goodness, right, I'm getting serious faces out here. That's, how serious that is. It's not a small thing. And for good reason. Also, if there's a fence there, does the fence stay up all the time? If it's going to be used one day, if somebody hits the fence at night when they're driving, beach driving, whose liability is that? So those are some of the things that, that I would like to be addressed, when the trustees meet, when you all meet and discuss this. Thank you for keeping it open. I think some more people might.
Yeah,
want
and like I
to-
said, there's no resolution drafted. simply a public hearing to hear everybody's views on it, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about fencing, because, I mean, you still, during the hours you're allowed to drive on the beach, people do access the beach from this point, so you can't block it off, but people would know they have to make a left, and you could have some signage on the beach, I think, that says this is the end of the area.
Well, that was, I'd asked that question
Yeah.
earlier.
They have
whether-
it, you can
whether there was
go
gonna
down
be
to,
a border.
Cold Springs has it already set up that way. They have signs that tell you where you can park, where the parking ends. It's done by signage.
And I am more concerned about the bathing beach, which is, again, right, as we know,
Yep.
it's proximity, you know, kids.
And that's why I 100% would shift the
you know,
burden
little
over to us.
kids can cover ground pretty
So,
quickly.
you know, so 30 vehicles is 30 vehicles, so I understand, like, if
It's
it was
between us
open
right
to the
now.
county, those 30 vehicles would be not even our residents.
Right.
Right, so if it's limited just to town residents, and yes, we may.
I understand that.
We
I
may
just-
have, whatever, 79,000 people here, but in the summertime, we have several 100,000 people, so even more, but it's still that, at least those 30, and I'm not sure it's so many people are gonna wanna park on the beach. I think it is a limited group, but a
And it-
deserving group.
It would be a trustee permit, beach driving permit.
The
that's
4x4
You still need a 4x4 permit.
But I would much rather not have them open Triton itself right next. Because if you go down the end of Triton, I don't know if any of you have gone down there and you walk the end of
2 days
Triton and
ago.
you look to where Hot Dog Beach is and it comes out, it's close.
Mm-hmm.
Very close.
That's why I asked about the fence and what kind of
Yeah.
delineation.
Yep.
And if there is, does it come up? You know, what about, you know,
Yeah,
the little
it's-
kids bouncing off the walls, you know, because, not the walls, it's at the beach. That's why you bring them to the beach. So they go on the water.
Wants to go off the dunes?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be in the dunes.
Well, you know, we just built those switchbacks. I think they're gorgeous, the E-Pay.
Yeah.
So we'll
we just built
address this more in the future. I think
We
we
built
have some of
handicap
those.
parking there, we have the temporary bathroom there, eventually we'll have a.
Perhaps a trustee could come to the
Real
next
bathroom.
meeting.
Maybe they can come to the next meeting.
Well,
I like taking my truck on the beach,
Actually,
by the
I
way.
was going to suggest that because I think to Mr.
Used to
Kern's
lock
point,
me.
it's what's motivating this.
They were
And-
obviously aware
and they
we were
asked
having a
us,
meeting,
and that's
so-
how this kind of got started. So
Yeah.
I'd like to hear more from that side of
It
things
would
as
definitely be
well.
nice if they were here.
I mean, I've got a lot of notes here. I think everybody has really good points across the board. I don't know if we've done even a kind of survey there. I have no real idea at the height of the summer how many people are there, only anecdotally.
There's a lot.
but
There's
never-
probably
never
500
did a
people out
count.
there.
When I go there, it's crowded, I know that, but I don't know how many. And I don't know how many permits are granted.
At Hot Dog Beach.
At Hot Dog Beach, yeah.
So I like the idea
Yes,
of
I do.
adjourning to.
May 9th.
To May 9th. I also, if we have an opportunity then to sort of modify the notice so that it's not from the center line, so we have some flexibility.
Do that?
Jim, is that possible? Can we amend the notice?
Yeah, we have I think we have time to do that. We can. Yeah, I was gonna say.
See if the trustees could
Renotice it.
come.
Trustees, yeah. They did have their representative today. but,
Yeah, that would be nice if
We
they
spoke very
actually
eloquently,
came.
but,
So just so we don't get any technical issues with that, saying, because there are a couple properties to the east,
Mhm.
and they might say, oh, I didn't object because
It wasn't your-
it was only going 50 feet from the road right away at Triton, and now it's 150 feet from the edge.
But they'll still have a 150-foot buffer.
I know,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that they might raise a
Yeah, I
technical issue
understand,
that
yeah.
more of an impact on these.
could challenge the whole thing and force us, we lose the whole season because of a technicality, so I'd hate to see that.
Yeah.
I do have somebody in the back who wishes to be heard. Sean, did you want to say something, or no? You're good.
No, I think we've covered everything. We can renotice and just make it a little more general, so this board has a little more authority to move that buffer zone we're all speaking about.
Okay.
And then we could combine those two hearings into one.
We can close this one and open that one and continue this discussion.
Yeah,
well,
and I'd like
we
to
have
know
to-
if we're impacting any other litigation that we don't know about.
I don't know if we have enough time to.
You don't have enough time to do it
publish
for May 9th. I would leave this
I
one
just keep this
open.
one open.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Keep it
can
open.
incorporate this into the other.
Yeah, incorporate the changes.
We could amend and republish.
You're right.
Yeah.
Can work with the town clerk.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Sir, you wanted to say, I don't normally give people a second chance, but
Appreciate it, I'll be quick.
if you could do it real quick. And please, nobody else ask for round two.
Sorry.
Only got 6'3" tall.
Try not to.
Sadamchewski, I'm known as the mayor of the
Since I
picnic
messed
area.
up his last name, I'm giving him.
That's all right.
a-
Well,
Thank
he's
you. I
using your
appreciate it.
time now. I object.
That's all right, that's okay, I won't object to it. I'm Francis Sadamchewski, I'm known as the mayor of the picnic area in Southampton. In Southampton, there's signs up between Suffolk County and the village where the picnic area is, and there's signs up, do not leave Suffolk County, park here entering the village. And on the other side, there's a sign with a little post on it saying, no, you cannot drive farther past that, and people respect that. And stop there, we have our area, which we contain ourselves in, and there's over, I think, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 permits, four-wheel drive, and I've been going to the picnic area, and there's not 4,000, 5,000 trucks on the beach. But I'm sure maybe at Hampton Bays, there might be, people might be wanting to go more than 30 trucks or whatever, but I can see, but I don't think the same people are gonna go every time to go, to give somebody else a chance
How
to.
many trucks are there at the picnic area?
On some days, the busiest days are 4th of July, and that's when all the families get together.
Does the village have a limit as to how many you're allowed to have?
There is not a limit now, no.
Okay.
Is there ever a line, Mr.
No,
Mayor?
there's never been a line.
Because it's unlimited.
Except when
They
the
just-
piping blowers are there and they're gonna open up the beach, like, all right, they have a beach monitor to monitor the piping blowers after they hatched and they're running down the beach. So the monitors will follow the piping blowers, and as soon as they leave the area, they escort us onto the beach. They say, all right, you're allowed to come onto the beach, and if they start coming back, they say, all right, you guys gotta leave. But the town trustees have a monitor down there, and they say.
And it's not like they're running away from the, they're like,
No,
they
they're
have to
going,
be like.
they're going down to feed and go down the beach and get away, because there's nobody down there, because from Road G all the way to Halsey Neck, there's nobody. I mean, there's homeowners down there that don't even use the beach, and it's like empty. So it's like.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Adamczewski.
Thank you. And
I got it right?
Mr. Mayor?
yes, thank you.
I
And
should just say Mayor Adamczewski.
we've been working on trying to get like K Road, L Road as a drive-on too, but we figured Suffolk County, but Suffolk County doesn't have access to that beach without using the trustee roads, so you might want to look into that too.
I was thinking that could be the trigger for a
Yeah,
trustee
that could be
permit.
something
you know,
to
keep it.
You can't get
That's
on it
what
if you don't have a trustee permit, so how do
That's
you
right.
utilize it?
So if you don't have a
That
town
might be a way to
trustee,
do it.
Yeah.
you're not supposed to be on that beach, so there's no other way. Suffolk County people that have
Yeah.
permits can drive on our beach.
Yeah, that might.
So
might be-
Outside of
look
the
into
town of
that.
Southampton.
That might be the answer.
Because I mean, that would be a
Freeholders.
much better area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to adjourn to, was it May 9th? 1 o'clock, May 9th? Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you guys, we're welcome to stay. We're not gonna be discussing this issue any further.
Thank you.
If you're looking for some entertainment.
It is locally
Or you
important.
can watch us on Channel 22.
Still do.
Or YouTube.
Wow.
Or YouTube.
That's a lot.
All right,
Kids were very quiet.
Madam Clerk, would you read the third public hearing notice?
Public hearing number 3, to amend Town Code, Chapter 312, Vehicles and Traffic, Parking Prohibited on Portions of Windermere Court, Spionk.
All right, Sean Cambridge, Assistant Town Attorney, will introduce.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This one's not as exciting. This is a parking regulation. This area has a lot of LI-40 properties. People are parking in tractor trailers and not able to make their deliveries over here. So it is a pretty big issue for this area. We're proposing on both the north and south side of Windermere Court, beginning at the point 525 feet east of the intersection with North Phillips Avenue to the entrance of the cul-de-sac. That will allow these tractor-trailer vehicles to turn around appropriately and safely and make their deliveries.
I've had zero feedback from the area on this subject. It's very localized. As you said, it's an issue with being able to park and deliver it as well, and make sure that those are not in conflict, so.
You don't have a drawing showing this?
We don't on this one.
You are the liaison, but you're saying you haven't heard much about it. Where did this come from?
This came out of our town engineering department. It was brought to Tom Houghton by members of the community. Primarily, like I said, one side of the street is LI 40, the other is residential for the most part in this area. It's a local issue affecting a couple of businesses, but it is quite an issue for these deliveries.
It's a little industrial park, essentially.
Correct.
That's what it is. There's
Currently, if we have a large truck going down and they can't turn around, they have to back out down the road.
Right, it's very
in
hazardous.
reverse, out onto another road.
To back up a vehicle like
Okay.
that, as you'd imagine.
or actually back up and stop traffic on
And if
Phillips.
these businesses can't get their deliveries, they can't operate
Or
as
to
they
Phillips.
should.
And it's not the residential people that are causing the
No.
problem, it's the employees.
It's the employees.
Of the places we're trying to protect from parking in those spots.
Right, there's also a train station down there.
Right.
People just kind of bail their car and catch the train and leave it in a spot they're not supposed to, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Really? They have 2 parking lots there.
I know.
Okay.
But when a train, well, I
So
don't
is
know.
this,
There's a resolution of adoption on for the May
I see
9th
that,
meeting.
but is there any, I mean, I can't.
We
I wanna
discussed
say
this
un-
previously.
Yeah, we've
I think there
talked
might be
about
somebody
this
online
before,
for
yeah.
this, because she texted me to ask me if there was a link.
Okay, I mean, are we predicting any opposition to this?
I'm not.
I don't know how she's speaking, she just asked me for the link.
All right.
Yeah.
all right.
I personally, it hasn't come up.
I don't have
with
any
our-
cards from our town hall audience, right? Anybody here want to be heard?
She has
2 people online.
All right, so we have 2 people online who, all right, so if you're online and you want to be heard, click that raise hand icon and we'll bring you in.
Hello, can you see me?
Cannot hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Kristen Roussel. I'm an employee of a business on Windermere Court. I believe there was a little bit of mix-up with this resolution. The problem is that on occasion, parking happens on both sides of the road, and it's not just a tractor-trailer issue, although that is a major issue. But even personally, I can't go down the street if another car is coming. I have to back all the way back to the business and wait for the car to come through. We've actually had the fire marshal there, and he confirmed that a fire truck would not be able to go down the road. So what I was hoping we could do is get one side, the north side of Windermere Court, no parking, so that way we fully have 2 lanes to drive on. Because if we only do no parking on the cul-de-sac, that's still gonna limit the rest of the road.
Okay,
Pretty clear.
So is it?
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Charles, was there
Can
somebody
you
else?
guys hear me?
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Oh, hold on, let me see if I can. Can you hear me, see me now?
Well, there we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steve,
Okay.
you keep
Yeah,
moving around.
I'm standing at the intersection to show you.
On the scene.
It's better than a picture.
That is the road, and then my house is right there, the next house over. So I just want to make sure, I'm sort of in agreement that parking on one side is good, but parking on no sides is a problem for me, because then I think all these cars are going to be parked along North Phillips Avenue, which is more of a problem with traffic and everything, and won't be able to get out of my driveway.
You want to address that?
So
Yeah,
I'm sort of in
there's-
agreement that, yes, the north side, no parking. I understand, definitely you need to have one side no parking, but hopefully, still having parking on the other side would be, just so that some people have somewhere to park, so they don't end up parking on North Phillips. That's,
Yeah.
Okay.
And Sean, I think you've got it a little wrong.
So in sub 4 here, there is a typo. I just wasn't sure exactly of which typo this was. The language provided was on both the north side of Windmere Court. We could probably just strike the word on the words on both and just leave the north side of Windmere Court, and that would remedy
That
this
was the
issue.
conversation we had all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank you,
it's,
guys.
so
No
it's just
problem.
supposed to be the north side? And Steve, you're okay if parking's prohibited on the north side?
yeah, if you're not parking prohibited on the north side, definitely would impede traffic, because the road is only maybe 40 feet wide, so, you know, you don't have enough, area for, cars to pass. You only have one, you know, if there's parking on both sides, you only have one lane in the middle. And I want to say 99% of the time, people just park on the one side, but that one person leaves their car on the north side, is sort of a problem for traffic, and I definitely can see that. So I don't think it would affect anything really, you know, rather than just having that one-off person not be able to park there. And, you know, it shouldn't, because of safety, you know, you should be able to have two lanes, passable, and that's.
Yeah, and that's what it achieves.
First responder, I can understand that, and just, you know, as a business, you can't have to be able to get to your business, you know, so.
Good, great.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
So, okay,
That's it, no, they
And the both here should be struck.
Yeah, that
yeah,
should
both
be
the
there.
north side, yeah, it says on both the north side, it doesn't mention south side.
There aren't two north sides, there's only
Yeah,
one.
All right, this is Scribner's error, so, okay. Anyone else, Charlie?
No.
No, sir.
All right, no one else here who wanted to speak on this? All right, I think we can close this, not an issue. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Second by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we'll move on to public hearing number 4, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing number 4, to consider granting a license to install a monitoring well at property located at 275 Beach Road, Hampton Bays.
Thinking about that.
All right.
You gonna go to Sunday?
Assistant Town Attorney, Katie Garvin, will introduce us.
Good evening.
Can you give him the Sunday?
They need to get to
stamp?
Sunday first.
Oh, sorry, I should have started with Sunday.
You wanna-
Good evening, Katie Garvin, Assistant Town Attorney. I am here tonight pretty much to just introduce Fred Stum, who is from the United States Geological Survey. They have reached out to the town of Southampton, and particularly Parks and Recreation Director Kristen Doulos, to install a monitoring well in the overflow parking lot at the Ponquag Beach in Hampton Bays. It's pretty much to start a study of saltwater intrusion into the Long Island aquifer. We kind of, when this request first came to us, we ran it by Marty Shea, who thinks it's a great idea, thinks we could get some really important information. I ran it by the Department of Land Management, who said it would be a type 2 action. So there's no further SECRA review required. But like I said, I really can't describe the project to you at all, so I'm going to introduce Fred.
Because that was my question, what are you monitoring?
I can't. I did a Google search, and I just begged Fred to come out here. Here you go.
Good evening.
He's honest.
I guess just in a nutshell, I'm a geologist with the U.S. Geological Survey. We have an office on Long Island. We've been here since pretty much the beginning of development. We've been, and basically what we do is we work with local government to monitor the groundwater flow system on Long Island.
So this is the sub-watershed study part of it?
Yeah, it's part of the Long Island Sustainability Project. It's funded by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and the funds are to develop a real monitoring network. Instead of the hodgepodge kind of piecemeal things over the years, the well is designed based on all that experience. We have wells that we installed like in the Great Neck community, Manhasset Neck, Long Beach areas where they're vulnerable for saltwater intrusion, where salt water is where if there's not enough pressure, from rainfall on Long Island, and we build up a water table, it's a positive pressure that kind of keeps the sea at bay. If there's a change in sea level from rising, or if there's extra pumping that goes on, that'll lower that water pressure, and it kind of, almost like you're pushing against a door, someone on the other side is the salt water. If you don't have enough pressure to keep that back, it'll migrate into the aquifer. Once it migrates into the aquifer, it takes many lifetimes to kind of push that back out again, especially in the deeper aquifer. So the idea is that we would be able to install this outpost well. There has never been really deep drilling and exploration on the South Fork. It's kind of been neglected for years that way. And now we have an opportunity with this project to collect that kind of data. So it'll be a 4-inch well that's drilled. We have a federal contract with a professional driller. It's a local driller from Long Island, Delta Well Pumping. And basically, we've been doing this now for the last 3 years. We've even done a really good job working with other parks. Why do we select parks? They don't get developed really over time. And this well will cost several hundreds of thousands of dollars to install. So we're trying to utilize the public taxpayer funds the best we can, focus them on areas that'll be here in 20, 30 years. And then once the well is installed, we'll be able to collect core samples. And these core samples will be used to remap the aquifers on Long Island. All the way, this will go down to bedrock. And it'll be screened in the deep Lloyd aquifer, which is the deepest aquifer. However, it's going to be PVC cased, and we have technology that we've developed over the last 20 years for Long Island where we can send a probe down that well, and within an hour or two of measuring it, we can monitor. Instead of just getting a screen, normally on a well you'll have like a 20-foot screen. So this well is going to be about 1,600 feet to bedrock. So instead of we'll get a sample, but instead of getting a little 20-foot sample, the town will have the ability to have an outpost well to monitor all aquifers because it drills through them. And then we have equipment that actually sees through the casing, and it can use it using electromagnetics, sort of like when you, like induction, when you put a phone on one of those rechargeable pads. It's
Looking at the field.
Exactly, and that field we can measure outside the well, and we can go back over the years. We've done that now with Nassau County Department of Public Works, with the county there, and we've also worked now with New York City Parks. And we've done such a great job that they've invited us back, even though we have a drill rig. We'll set the well up, but when it's finished, you can never tell. They restored the property to exactly how it was before, to the satisfaction of the municipality, and then the well will just be a sentinel, and we'll be able to go out occasionally, take a water level measurement. So it'll be a part of the new maps for Long Island. It's going to be a data set for mapping the aquifer, and we'll be able to measure how much salt water, if it's changing at all, and then that'll be used for, like, Hampton Bays Water District, and for Suffolk County Water Authority, and for this groundwater flow model that's being developed. So it's kind of it'll be a piece of a big picture, but it'll be an outpost well that the town will have really at the edge of most of these aquifers. And we'll be able to see if there's any changes in the aquifer from year to year using the technology. And then you can make, it's like, again, an analogy would be like a canary in a coal mine. It lets us know way ahead of time before any of the supply wells are being impacted, and making a few management changes can make all the difference for sustainability.
One screen, and it's in the Lloyd aquifer.
Right. Yeah. But you'll have, because it's with the technology, we'll be able to monitor all the aquifers
The Magothy
simultaneously.
and the upper glacier.
So I asked before if this was part of the sub-watershed study. It sounds like you're giving data to that study, but you're not actually part of it?
Right, we're part of, this is a Long Island Sustainability Project.
Okay, so, and this well isn't transmitting, you're going to go and take physical measurements?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no transmission, no power, nothing like that?
No, there's nothing, and if we do utilize that technology like that, Most of the technology now is like cellular, and it's buried within the well, and it's based on battery power now. So the digital technology, you can put a pressure transducer in the well, hang it in the well, it'll monitor it internally, and then it gets downloaded either by radio or just, most of the time it's by a hydrologist, someone from our office that would then open the well. It's going to be a bolted cover. They would access the well, take a measurement, then they reclose the well because we don't want it to get vandalized. And then as well, it becomes flush the grade, and basically it sits quiet. So the majority of the time, it's going to be just there. But it's got data that we just can't get any other way, and it'll serve hopefully for
So what
decades.
flood zone is that in? Is that gonna get underwater every once in a while? I don't know where the location is specifically, so.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
I'm looking at it, but I know what the flood zone.
Yeah.
Looks okay, it's right next to the parking lot. Yeah,
Right.
it should be
Do
fine.
you have wells like this in Fire Island? You said the South Fork hasn't been measured.
Well, we just finished a well, they just installed a well at Robert Moses in Fire Island. We're proposing one with the National Park Service at the edge of their property. And there's other future wells possibly that's gonna go in, but we currently, that well that went into, at Robert Moses was 2,000 feet to bedrock, so.
And there's fresh water down in that column.
There's fresh water, yeah,
So-
there's fresh water in the Lloyd Aquifer. In the upper part of the Magathi Aquifer, it is salty.
Because of the bays.
Yeah.
So there's water,
sea
there's fresh
level
water flow, there's fresh water
Right.
flow underneath.
As we go, right, there's fresh water
The
within it.
aquicludes
Yeah, there's
prevent-
clay layers,
Uh-huh.
and that'll protect some of it. But what we're finding, and that's what really kicked off the project, is the Lloyd is, on the South Shore was considered to be fresh, and the interface is miles offshore. And what we found with our research now is it's not, it's actually right near the coast of Long Island,
The
so.
interface where it becomes salt and it
Right,
starts
so
mixing
we
with
have,
this
that has to be taken into account with the modeling, and that's what.
zone of variability.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could, right. But it's basically the change from salt water to fresh water. It's fairly a sharp interface, but naturally, we don't have miles of extra offshore fresh water to rely upon, so.
Okay.
And as we go further east, you're on the edge of the forks as well, and they're more vulnerable because they only have a limited surface area for this rainwater to build up that kind of pressure.
So what you're doing is
We know.
monitoring saltwater intrusion. You're being able to project from that motion and then be able to predict.
Right, and then share
where
that.
we might end up not having fresh water in our.
Well, it'll definitely, there is fresh water, obviously, it's viable right now. It's just that it's.
How fast it's moving inland.
Right, if you don't have any way to monitor it, why guess? Now we'll have these, we have funding from the state to finally do, this has been something that we've wanted to do for decades, and, partnering with New York State, the DEC, and also local government, we're able now to put this network in. And then, in the current governor's budget, there'll be funding from the state also to monitor. So it's not something just to be installed and forgotten. It's going to be a viable future project.
I think it's really important, and I'm really glad that you're here doing that. Years ago, we would have done it then. So I really appreciate that, and I understand the importance of it, so, yeah.
So the location is just,
It's in the overflow parking lot.
Parking lot.
North of the
Okay.
overflow, yeah. So
Got it.
Warner Boat.
I think it's like
just north
Fremont
of the
Fort
overflow
40.
parking.
Right.
Where we
Correct.
did the drilling.
And
I'm happy that you have a locking mechanism inside the
Yeah.
so,
manhole
and it's
cover.
the cap is at grade?
Yeah, it'll be flush to grade, just like we did with New York City parks and other Nassau County parks, and we put a number of them in state parks as well. And we try to go flush to grade. That's really the.
So
how long does it take to drill?
yeah, it's my next question. And what type of equipment would we expect to see out there, and how long would it be out there?
Well, for something like a 1,600-foot well, it's easily a 2-month operation. So what we're proposing, obviously with the summer season now come upon us, we would wait So again, try to work with our cooperating, towns, we'll push this off until after the summer season, like after Labor Day type of thing. And then this way we're more out of the way and less of an impact.
Yeah, don't hit our new water main.
No.
Do you provide?
We just
You
put one
can't
in.
have that fresh water.
We just put one in.
They're on the other side of it.
This
You
is
hear it, but.
This is
No,
very
they-
interesting. Do you provide signage as to what you're doing? When some of the local folks drive into the parking lot and they start saying, "What the heck is going on here?"
We've
And,
done
you know,
that, we
do you
did
have-
that, I think we did do that for New York City parks. I mean, you can imagine, and we've drilled wells in Brooklyn, small parks in Brooklyn. And we usually will put some kind of placard up if you want, and that'll explain like why we're there, what's the project, what is the purpose of having this equipment there, and that we also won't be here forever.
So you're gonna do it in the fall, is that what you think?
Yeah, I think we're gonna wait till the fall is the game,
And
because realistically
Are there
now
any
it's already
community
May.
impacts? Is there, are people gonna feel like the ground vibrating?
No, you won't notice it at all.
It's a 4-inch.
It's a 4-inch well, and we've done
You gotta
this.
cut through bedrock though.
No, we've,
They
to bedrock.
they go down to bedrock, not.
we
through.
go into bedrock, we just, to the surface of bedrock. But we've drilled these wells right across from, apartment buildings and whatnot, and never had any complaints
Okay.
or anything.
All right.
Cool.
So you mentioned the Hampton Bays Water District. This is not in response to any issues that we have in the Hampton Bays Water District. This is an island-wide study that you've been trying to
Exactly.
partake in for years.
Exactly.
Make that very clear.
Okay.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Just say that.
No, we've, the idea of something, this is an outpost well, and it's in an area that we're looking for mapping as well of the different layers, because what we're finding is no one's ever bothered, the McAtee's always been there, and everyone makes assumptions. Well, we need more than that to have an accurate model, and then to make accurate predictions for the future. So it'll be a bonus for the Water District and Suffolk County Water Authority. We have also done a lot of work with the Shinnecock Nation as well. So all that data, kind of putting it all together, is what we're looking to do for the East End.
And we'll get the data.
Everything we do is online, but I will be more than happy to share even the results of the well data
Awesome.
we have.
There's
Not
a
that our
big-
wells
big
are in the-
database being formed right now.
There is, we have a web page as well. If you
County, yeah.
Google, USGS, Long Island Sustainability Project, you'll come up to our web page, and it explains everything that we're doing.
And you guys are working with the Peconic Estuary project?
That's another project, but
project,
yeah,
okay.
we're partners with them as well. Yep.
Great.
And a lot of this data is gonna be useful for that endeavor as well.
USGS does great work, so yeah, happy to have you out here.
Our
We
wells are-
appreciate
yeah.
being invited to the meeting tonight, and again, to get access to the property is really
And
good partnership.
Got my vote.
Kristen, do you have no concerns?
No,
You,
we've been very.
If you gotta talk, you gotta bring it up. This is Kristen
Carrie here.
Doulos, our Parks Director.
Hi, good evening. No, initially I was concerned with the summer season coming, and the first proposed location was actually in the main Ponquag Beach parking lot. So I had asked, is there any alternative locations? Then they proposed north of the overflow lot, which to me was a lot better. And then now that we're kind of creeping into the summer season, they're also amenable to waiting till after Labor Day. So for me, I'm just thinking more from beach operation than the science aspect of it. I'll leave that up to, the Marty Shays and you
John
guys
Bouvier's.
to make those decisions. But
Hey,
other
it's
than
my
that,
world.
I think, we have the terms and agreements in order that Katie's working on, so I'm okay with it.
Okay, thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.
And
I have
there's
one
no
last
cost,
question.
no
The
cost
resolution-
to us, right?
No.
Katie, the resolution's in the packet?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you?
No, the funding is covered by with the cooperative program with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, so.
All right.
Are you doing this in any other towns on the South Fork? East Hampton?
Before this, now that this well's got shifted, we'll do another one in Southampton, actually, with, there's a property with the Water Authority that we're looking at doing it during the summer, something out of the way, kind of they have one of the locations, I think, near the railroad or something. And the other well would be out in in East Hampton,
Okay,
where
good.
there's another, it ends up that there's a buried valley, in the subsurface that we're looking to map. And we do monitor wells in Montauk for the Water Authority. And we just drilled a couple of a well on the North Fork as well. So Suffolk County, we're in phase 2 of the project. It had 2 phases. The first phase was Western, and that report has already been written, and it's in the technical review now. That will be published as a document to show all the layers and the wells that went in. And then this is going to be phase 2 of the project, and we're hoping that it looks like we're hopeful that there'll be like a phase 3 as well to fill in some more gaps, because Suffolk County is a larger area as well, so we want to make sure they get their fair share.
And it's complex, the water.
It's complicated geology too, as far as especially as you go further east on the fork, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right,
Fascinating.
to the public, is anyone who wanted to be heard at this, the 4th of the public hearings? Seeing none, we'll go online. Is there anyone online who wishes to be heard at the 4th public hearing?
No one.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very
All right,
cool.
we will move on to the 5th public hearing notice.
Thank you, Katie.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Chris.
Public
Thanks,
hearing
Kristen. Thanks,
number
everyone.
5, to amend Chapter 330.
I'm going to come out and visit at the drill site.
Anytime.
All right.
Ah.
Sorry.
All right.
No problem. Public hearing number 5, to amend Chapter 330-340 to 330-346, dark sky laws for enhanced enforcement language additions.
All right, Sean Cambridge, Assistant Town Attorney, will introduce.
Thank you again, Mr. Supervisor, members of the town board. So we have a dark skies committee. I see some members here today. So I'll be as brief as I can and outline some of the changes, and they can tell you why these things are important. So I was tasked with making this a little bit more enforceable as the town's prosecutor. I would say 99% of people respect and appreciate this section of the law. Where we've had it come up as an issue are people in neighbor conflicts that are usually in some kind of heated confrontation, and then they come on into court, usually with both parties being charged. And we were looking at this like, whoa, we're missing some elements here every time we look to prosecute. So we fixed that. This group together had a lot of great input, and myself, Ryan Murphy, Councilwoman McNamara, and our members who will speak shortly, we all collaborated, and this is what we came up with. All right.
And I think Ryan, just for the public, had supported this, and we got an
So
email from him.
this is
to support
focused
it.
on motion sensor, right?
Somewhat, yes, and some definition tweaks. So we've slightly tweaked the definition of essential lighting to say what that means, to identify entrances, exits, illuminate walkways, promote public safety, and work in those motion sensors with time periods that are, frankly, larger than what you'd buy on a motion sensor light fixture from pretty much any store on earth. You deliberately have to set it to be out of this time frame here. So we really worked to make this easy to comply with, easy to understand. From there, we jump into nuisance lighting. We've defined better. We've created an additional ground, that being illuminating the interior of a neighboring residential structure from an external point. The hardest thing on a lot of these complaints is actually getting there with a code enforcement officer and documenting them. So no, a code enforcement officer is not going to be in your house documenting the light coming into your home until they're invited there, until they have a picture from you, the homeowner, saying, I have this pervasive issue every night, my whole house is illuminated, I snapped a picture of it, can I please fill out a supporting deposition and have you write a charge against my neighbor? So we've created this mechanism. It's not intended for a code enforcement officer to be staking out your living room. It's intended to give a mechanism for them to charge based on a supporting deposition, photograph, that type of evidence. If you want to invite code enforcement in, you can do that too, certainly, but we don't need that. We can use a supporting deposition affidavit. We've also asked for valid electrical permits for pre-existing lighting. I don't think that's a huge ask. You should have an electrical permit when you have electrical work done. It's pretty consistent with the rest of our town code. We've written in, but for requirements that lights be fully shielded in pre-existing sections. The intent of this was to shield outdoor lights. We all know what the intent was. There was kind of a loophole here that we had to close. So yes, it may be pre-existing. Yes, you may have had an electrical permit in 1994 for a spotlight. These covers are affordable, they're readily available. There's no reason not to shield them appropriately. And from there, we had looked at the time frame for continuous lighting. We had all these time frames set at midnight. And one very impractical thing is our code enforcement officers would have to go sit in front of somebody's house at midnight. So we've changed these timelines to 10 p.m., make it a little more reasonable for our enforcement staff, while not over-regulating. You know, we know that people want to have their kids in the pool. We know you want to sit outside with full lights on, but 10 p.m. was the threshold that was set rather than midnight for sake of enforcement purposes. Are there any questions?
On section 5, I'm just on the going from 900 to 600 lumens. And
Yes.
60 to 40 watt. Explain that change.
So that actually, I think, is a better question for our members of the board here. That was their recommendation. They had a landscape lighting expert join us at our last meeting.
So this is where all shielding is required on any light bulb above
that threshold.
40 watts or, if it's 40 watts or less, you don't.
They can explain it a little better than me.
Kind of makes sense.
The lighting standards have changed since, you know, what our parents or grandparents may have said, this is a 60 watt bulb, that may no longer apply with these LED bulbs and all sorts of different bulbs. Like I said, these folks can explain that much better than I can. But these are readily available. We made sure that these are bulbs that are available in the common marketplace, your retail stores. This is not a crazy ask.
Okay.
This was basically
I
if you
get it.
had an
Just-
unshielded light hanging at your front door, if it's a 40-watt bulb, it's not really going to bother anybody, so you don't have to shield it.
Okay.
And
it
then
was
today's
60
40 watt
watts.
bulb might be.
It was 60 watts.
Well, it's still 40 watts.
But now
It's
we're
the
dropping
lumens.
it to
Right.
40. And 900 lumens.
The
is
lumens
going to
correspond
6.
with the
Right.
watts.
So it's
All
fine.
right. Okay.
So it's light output rather than energy.
So we're getting a little tougher there.
I think
Alright.
it's probably catching up with
It
sort of
is.
common culture, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, okay, I'm getting nods, so. I-
So if I may, I just want to, Sheila and Olivia are here from the committee. We did a lot of work on this. We met with Ryan Murphy, we met with Sean, we met with Janice Scherer, and this was over the course of, I don't know, many months. And I know they would have liked for it to been even more stringent than it is. But we felt like this was a fair compromise, and the biggest issue really was that we addressed the 10 PM versus the midnight, because we have issues, I know in my own hamlet, with a certain deli that has lights on that are a problem, and getting code enforcement to go out at midnight is not an easy task. We can get them out there at 10, it's much better. So this was really, I think, thank them for making, you know, a compromise on what they were asking
I
for.
think that's reasonable, that 10 p.m.
Yeah,
Personally,
Brian
it's-
Rondi comes almost
I go to bed
every.
at 10 o'clock. I don't want somebody's light shining in my bedroom.
No, no, and code enforcement officer Brian Rondi comes to every meeting every month and gives us an update on the stuff that has come in versus for dark skies and resolutions and what's going on with them, and gives us updates. Ryan Murphy's there quite often, and, you know, like I said, we did have a lighting expert come in that the committee brought in to ask these questions too, and they really felt that these standards are fair and reasonable, and
I like seeing the stars at night, so. Yeah,
You
Olivia,
got-
so I actually have a card.
Card.
So why don't we go with the card first?
you
which
both
is
come up together.
Sheila.
I just want to, she wants me
Emotional support.
This can be quick.
So Sheila and then Olivia.
Yes.
Or together, whatever you want.
Well, I think the first thing we want to do is thank the board and thank Sean for working with us to realize that regulations need to be updated, and also standards change. The whole lighting industry has completely changed. now they don't really talk about watts. I mean, I'm not going to get into it all, but it's Kelvin, which is the color, and lumen, which is the intensity. So we need to update our regulations to reflect that. I think the rest of it, Sean pretty much explained. I just want to say, too, that the midnight to 10 o'clock is for the convenience and the enforceability. There's no point in having laws that are never enforced. So, we need to make it realistic. But also, we're really trying to encourage people to think about motion sensor type of lighting. You don't need to leave a light on all night. You can have a motion sensor that when you get home from a late night, it turns on as you walk up your walk, and then it turns off after, I forget what the timing is, but.
Or you can even do it from your phone.
Well, this law makes it, what, 10 minutes?
10 minutes, which is way beyond.
Well, no one leaves the motion sensor on for 10
No.
minutes, but we,
No, but if you forget about it, it's quite a eye-opener.
Yes, no, I think, we're all working towards dark skies compliance, but also encouraging, we're trying to push education that everyone realizes it's hard to see the Milky Way, and everybody's all over the world now pushing for this shift, and we're just doing our little part. We were even told today that Palm Beach has stricter rules than we do.
Well, I'll put that in context, because I've been working for the last few years with Assemblyman Thiel, because the Hampton Observatory, they're looking for a place to put an observatory here, a little farther west. Very hard to find a place that's dark enough for the observatory.
Talking about the Montauk Observatory, or
The
they changed the
former
name?
Hampton, now,
Yeah.
former
Yes.
Montauk, now the
Oh.
Hampton Observatory.
I was one of the original.
But it's very
members
hard
of
to
that.
find a place.
Yes.
Just for those reasons, so.
And
We've been trying to get an observatory out
The
here
high
for
school one
forever.
but the high school has been redoing
well, the
theirs.
planetarium is
The planetarium.
in the process
Yeah.
still of being fixed.
And Custer is the observatory, is it Custer?
I don't
It's
remember.
now, Montauk is Custer, is that?
No.
No, it's now
Montauk-
Hampton. It's now called the
Montauk
Hampton
went to
Observatory.
Hampton, and now it's coming somewhere
Yeah,
else.
it-
I don't know.
But we're still working,
Anyway,
we're still
that's
working
not-
to get dark.
But
Is that
the
it still
point,
up?
the point is just, to keep these regulations up to date and to make them realistic for our enforcers, who, as Cindy was saying, have very cooperatively been coming to all of our meetings and giving us reports, and
Involvement.
it makes it realistic. So,
Yes.
thank you.
So thank you all.
Thank you.
So we also want to thank our planning division and building division. These requirements are going into new housing and building plans. So they're instrumental. They actually wrote most of this, so I'd like to give them some credit.
All right. excellent.
Well, renewable sourcing for all of this too, Sean, so.
And the committee, I
just
mean, I have
adding.
to say, there's committees you work with that, ask you to do everything. This is by far a committee that goes above and beyond. They did their own PSAs for Sun TV, so they definitely put in quite a bit of work, so thank you.
Yes, thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Is Susan Harder, does she still do this stuff? Or?
East Hampton.
In East Hampton, yeah.
She's East Hampton.
I know we lost Gail Klima. She was a real fighter for dark skies. Yeah.
And North Haven just put in a dark skies policy, which looks pretty good, and I think Harbor has to get it.
All right, so I'm going to get yelled at in a couple seconds by Charlie, because
They have code.
we can't hear you.
about a third of
Well,
this.
we can hear you, but our audience at
Oh, that's right,
CTV
right,
can't hear
yeah.
you. All right.
So none of the conversation
So
won't be heard.
anyone else
Right.
want to be heard
You're
on
not
this
mic'd.
issue? We'll go online. Anybody online wanting to be heard on this issue?
No, sir.
All right, I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that's the last public hearing. We'll move on to public portion. Is there anyone wishing to be heard in public portion? Bill Kearns. I got the S this time.
That's a long
Good
wait.
evening, Supervisor, Town Board. I live on Spinney Road, and I just have a question as to what is happening at the far end, the undeveloped end of Spinney Road. That was an issue relative to the development that's going on in there. Has anything been decided concerning that? It's a public road.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Spinney Road goes into the woods where the development is. So that road goes through the property of the developers. What's going on with that road? Is it has any decision been made?
Highway question, I don't.
You mean as far as access?
Yeah, what
Is
are you
that
going to do
where
with
the
it? I mean,
monitoring
I would
was?
imagine that the developer is not happy about that, and I would imagine people on my block want to know where it is. Well,
Still not following
you
the
don't
question.
understand?
Yeah, so it goes out to Flanders Road
Right.
if you take it all the way through the woods.
It's a public road that goes through private property. So where is that going to be?
Basically a paper
Ms.
street.
McNamara, you must understand, right?
Mhm, I do.
All right,
I
so
was just there
It's a
yesterday.
paper road that what, is like, it's never been abandoned or anything? It's,
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
It's a paved road up until,
The end of Spinney. Well,
yeah,
it's not the end of Spinney, it's the
public road
end of the,
Spinney,
yeah.
Right. And at one point it was gated, and
Mhm.
now it's open, wide open, and there's signs there that say that unpaved road, just cautioning people if they're on there, that it's an unpaved road from that point on. It dead ends at Sunrise, obviously.
Last I knew, the highway superintendent was
it's a
dealing with
paper,
that.
there's a paper road.
Yes.
right?
It's a dirt road, an
The highway
unpaved
superintendent
road
wants to put a
from-
bridge over Sunrise Highway.
Yeah, that's what Marty
Right.
opined on that, Marty Shea.
So my question is, what's going to happen there? Because we are concerned about that relative to, is it going to be a traffic, is it going to be paved?
It's staying wooded, right? We're not clear.
I don't know of any plans to
Item number
pave it.
7 on the planning board agenda for 2 days from now, April 27th, is Lewis Road PRD, formerly The Hills. Bullet point number 2 is to renew and consider issuing resolutions, no objection for road abandonments for Lewis Road. You would have to ask them. This
For
is
Lewis
just
Road.
Yeah, that's Lewis Road.
Lewis
That's-
Road.
Yeah,
Not
this
Spinney.
is-
Oh, not
He's
Spinney.
talking about
This
Spinney.
is a paper road.
Okay,
Yeah.
thought I had it. I was wrong.
I imagine they'll make a request.
We'll talk to
abandon
Janice
Spinney.
Shearer.
Okay, I've
Man.
tried to, and I haven't gotten any
Okay,
response, actually.
give me a call or
Okay.
email me to remind me and I'll.
And then
I'll
just
get on-
quickly,
get
two
on
other
it.
things. The town was supposed to appoint or hire someone to oversee that project. Has that happened?
You mean like an ecologist or something? on
No, the
PRD?
ecologist was supposed to be the developer's part. Has that happened? So has the developer hired an ecologist? That was part of the agreement that was made, that they would hire an ecologist to oversee the demolition of the woods. And I was just wondering if that's happened.
Put the question into an email, let me talk to
So that was a
Janice tomorrow.
condition of.
Approval by the
of
planning board.
By the planning board.
Mhm.
So,
And the town was also going to hire someone to oversee that development from the town's perspective, making sure that things were done in accordance with the plan.
right, because this is not the town board's approval, this is now the planning board's. approval.
Well, you're the supervisor, I thought maybe you would know.
No, it's the building department, there's,
That's a question.
every
I
building,
reached out to
every
you,
building
Supervisor.
permit's got,
I reached out to
project
you.
limiting fences and hay bales and all kinds of things. that the
reached out-
building
I know the
department-
DEC has been there.
I reached out to you and you told
I
me to
referred you to
contact.
Janice, right?
Right, and no response. 4 attempts, no response from anybody. 3 emails and a phone call. And I just want answers. I don't want to point fingers at anybody. I just like to know what was happening.
Right, if
Yeah,
those
we
are
can
conditions of the
follow.
building permit or conditions of the planning board's approval, they have to be followed.
Okay.
Jim, do you want to look into that?
Sure, yeah, definitely. So the question is whether the developers have hired an ecologist and whether the town is required, and if so, have they hired?
Like a site manager?
Like a overseer, like a GC.
I don't know what you'd call it. It was someone that was supposed to be hired by the town. Believe me, I followed this for a long time.
No, I know, and I know there were conditions with the PDD, there are all kinds of things, but
I know that. It's just
this is a different project.
This is the Lewis Road PRD.
This is the
Part-
PRD,
part of
I don't
the-
know what conditions the planning board put in.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with them.
Okay. Well, I just, I think they're important conditions. I think they're important things to follow up on. Just anecdotally, the frogs that are creeping in the middle of the night and making all kinds of noise, the spring peepers.
We
on the
can't do
si-
anything about those.
Well, let me just tell you, on the side that's been deforested, they're gone.
Hmm.
There are no more. So that's why the ecologist, and that's why I'd like to see if it's public knowledge or public information, I'd like to see what the effects of this development are relative to that.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, Jim will,
Yeah, no follow-up.
will follow up with you.
Should I call you?
Sure.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, Tom.
Tom?
Bill, sorry.
I only missed the S.
At least I got it one whole name.
Tom, Ed, Bill,
Right.
Joe.
Tom Curtin, a friend of mine in college, I always do that.
All right, we're gonna go online to public, we're in public portion.
Forgot about online.
If you would like to approach the board on any issue, now is your opportunity. Just click the raise hand icon, and we will entertain your comments.
No one online.
Music to my ears. So, all right, I will make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That brings us to resolutions.
Town Board Resolution 573 of 2023. To authorize the renewal of the town's financial solution and associated third-party perpetual license with HSO, formerly known as Interdyne, AKA Solutions.
All right. Seconded by Councilman McNamara. I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved.
Town Board Resolution 574 of 2023, to authorize the supervisor to renew the purchase of network hardware and software maintenance from CCSI.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 575 of 2023, authorize supervisor to sign 2023 contract with Suffolk County Office for the Aging to receive additional senior citizen nutrition program funding.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 576 of 23, authorize supervisor to sign a contract with Gray Shift LLC for digital evidence analysis tool and platform subscription services for the town police department.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 577 of 2023, authorize supervisor to sign contract with Ryan D'Amico for sound system at Good Ground Park.
Second.
Second by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 578 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, authorize the sale of community benefit unit located at 203 Erie Way, East Quogue.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 579 of 2023, authorize the supervisor to execute Parks and Recreation Agreement for Denise Giles.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 580 of 2023, authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with AKRF Environmental Planning and Engineering Consultants in connection with the traffic review services for the traffic analysis for the ZBA site plan special exception application of 9-11 Flanders LLC.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 581 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with DTN for Weather Century Online Public Safety.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 582 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Rave Mobile Safety for emergency notification to residents within the Hampton Bays Water District.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 583 of 2023. Authorize the supervisor to execute a sole source agreement with CI Technologies, Inc. for IA Pro and Blue Team software for use in the town's police department.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 584, 2023, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, authorize the supervisor to extend a consulting contract with H2M Architects, Engineers, Land Surveying, ATAL, to provide on-call engineering services to the Hampton Bays Water District.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 585 of 2023, to authorize the supervisor to renew the town's maintenance agreement with Printer Logic Incorporated for digital document management software.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 586 of 2023, to authorize the supervisor to sign agreement with Govern for Govern software upgrade.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 587 of 2023. Authorize the supervisor to sign all documents necessary to engage surveying firms for the Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point project.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. Should the word project be in there somewhere? Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point?
It's the FIM.
It says
like
FIM project.
duplicative.
It says
Fire
survey
Island Montauk
firms for the Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point.
Point project.
Maybe FIP ought to be just in parentheses and take, you see moving that parentheses after project forward? Can we do that as a scrivener's change?
Although it is the Fire Island to Montauk Point project.
You got that, Kim?
You know, see?
No, I just want to move
Yeah,
this
it's
parentheses,
fine,
the
I'm just
closed
saying,
parentheses.
it's not two projects.
No,
Yeah,
we're not adding the
take
second word.
Just FIMP could be in.
FIP could just be on its own in parentheses after Fire Island to Montauk Point, FIP
Got the
project.
teacher in them coming in.
Or FIP could be at the end, whatever. All right,
No
so,
FIP off.
did we vote
It's
on that one,
8:30.
Sunday? Did I have a second?
I don't have a vote, because you started
Oh, who
talking about
seconded
the.
it?
John.
I did.
John.
Councilman Bouvier, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 588 of 23. Authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Thomson Reuters for West Complete Print Products for the town attorney's office. Did we figure out if that's Westlaw? or-
Yeah, it's Westlaw.
Should it say Westlaw?
Second.
I confirmed with Mark Redmond that
It's just a,
it should not be.
Okay, then we,
West is
West,
what
Just for
West
West-
is the West Publishing Company.
West Complete Print Products?
Second.
Sure.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 589 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract for a 2022 F-250 Super Duty with Plow and Lucas Ford Lincoln Mercury Incorporated.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 590 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, Councilman Martell, to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract for roll-off containers with Monmouth Solutions Incorporated.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 591 of 23, award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Sports Courts resurfacing and construction requirements contract with the, did I say the contract for Sports Courts resurfacing and construction requirements contract with the Land Tech Group, Inc.? And that's co-sponsored with Councilman Bouvier.
Who will second it?
And a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 592 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, is to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract for structure demolition at 62 Red Creek Road, Hampton Bays, with Brian V. Klug Landscaper Incorporated.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 593 of 23, declare item surplus and authorize disposal of vehicles.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 594 of 23, designate professional appraisal firms for the town of Southampton.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 595 of 2023, recall and amend Resolution 2023-103, authorize supervisor to sign agreement with Opus Inspection for a New York State DMV vehicle inspection program.
Second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved.
Town Board Resolution 596 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, recall and amend Resolution 2023-107, authorize supervisor to sign no-cost extended contracts with Palace Electrical Controls Incorporated for the electrical portion, Philip Ross Industries for the plumbing mechanical portion, and East End Material, DBA East End Group for the general construction, for the wellhead treatment for the removal of iron and manganese at plant number 4.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 597 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, recall and amend Resolution 2023-182, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extension for maintenance, installation, repair of water mains with road work construction.
Second?
Second by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 598 of 2023, recall and amend Resolution Number 2023-447, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extension for pavement repair with Rosemar Contracting Incorporated.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution, nope.
I think it's me. If you want to read it, you can. I guess 599 of 2023, recall and rescind Town Board Resolution 2023-532.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 600 of 2023, recall and amend Resolution 2023-393, award and authorize supervisor to sign an extended contract for full-depth reclamation with Rosemar Contracting Corporation.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution ID 601 of 2023, resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute a license agreement to install a monitoring well at property located at 275 Dune Road, Beach Road, Hampton Bays.
I'll second that, if you don't mind, I'd like to co-sponsor. I think that's really cool, Rick.
So, now, is that the correct address for where we ended up?
275.
Yeah, it's on Lighthouse Road.
Dune.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, so, and John is seconding it, and co-sponsor, you said?
Yes.
So, did you get that?
I certainly did.
All right.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 602 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell. 2023 notice to bidders for mulching head for Takuchi TL12R2.
Second.
Nice.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 603 of 2023, the 2023 notice to bidders for wood-wearing surface replacement of River Avenue Bridge.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 604 of 2023, a second notice to bidders for 2023 Silverado 1500 Crew RST four-wheel drive.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 605 of 23, authorized general fund pay-as-you-go purchase of commercial freezer.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 606 of 23, co-sponsored by Councilman Schiavone, Hampton Bays Volunteer Ambulance Corps Service Award Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 607 of 23, excuse me. Sorry.
Bless you.
Also co-sponsored by Councilman Schiavone, Southampton Volunteer Ambulance Corps Service Award Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 608 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, West Hampton War Memorial Ambulance Association, Inc. Service Award Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 609 of 2023, this is a resolution of adoption amending Town Code Article 14, exemption for members of voluntary fire departments and ambulance services of Chapter 298, taxation to reduce minimum service requirements and clarify partial exemption for property not used exclusively for primary residents, and we had a public hearing on this evening.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. I'd like to co-sponsor this.
I think we all should.
I think we all could.
And everybody, Cindy.
That's it.
All right,
Throw
everybody
it
wants
in.
to go on, all right, so we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, just, Councilman Schiavone, thank you for bringing this forward and for recognizing how important our volunteer ambulance and firefighters are.
They do the work.
All right, Rick, you're next.
Yeah, Town Board Resolution 610 of 2023, authorized waiver of Parks and Recreation facility use fee for Hampton Bays High School Class of 2023 Commencement Parade.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 611 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, authorized waiver of Parks and Recreation facilities use fee for the East Quogue Chamber of Commerce 2023 Summer Concert Series.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 612 of 2023, waive portable stage fee for the Hampton Bays Fire Department.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Resolution 2023-613 accepts resignation of Glenn Schnabel, Senior Management Analyst in Budget and Finance.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, and we hate to see Glenn go. He's done a phenomenal job here in purchasing, risk management, and a whole host of other things. He's been a great member of really two teams, both the Controller's Office and the Human Resources Office, and I know he'll be missed, but we understand he's doing similar work in another area. We wish him luck, but we thank him for the time he spent here. He did an excellent job.
We'll miss him.
So we have motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. All right, 614 of 2023 accepts retirement of Mark Conrad, Senior Accountant in Controller's Office.
Second.
Seconded by
Same
Councilman
grieving
Bouvier.
loss of another.
Yeah, so, I work with Mark every day. And I sign documents every day. I purchase orders, manual checks. I mean, every PO. I mean, it's an intense amount of work. And, I try to check everything against, the backup documentation. In all these years I've been here, I haven't found a single error, not even a penny. Everything has been perfect, and it's reflected in the audits that we have that have been perfect. Mark's another person, I hate to see Mark go. He was gonna leave a while ago, and we begged him to stay on longer. He did, and he helped us out. It's a huge loss for the Controller's Office. He's sort of like the gentle, quiet giant in the corner there.
Yeah, he quietly gets stuff
Sometimes
done.
I leave really late because my workload is intense, and I still see Mark back
Sitting
there.
in his back when you're walking
Still
out the door.
trying
Yeah,
to get
waving
everything
goodbye
done.
as you go by.
So like when we're doing these warrants, it's a tremendous amount of work on his behalf, and he sticks it out until it's done, no matter how long it takes. And I don't know, we're not gonna be able to find a replacement for him. Well, we're gonna do our best, but
Well,
he's-
Glenn and.
Glenn too.
and
These
Mark.
are huge losses for us, so, and I don't go on at length about all of these retirements, but Mark is somebody that I work with on a daily basis. He's in my office every day, bringing documents to sign. These guys move money around constantly to get the highest interest rates and protect the taxpayers constantly. It's a great service to the community, and we really, Mark, you earned your retirement. Thank you for staying a little bit longer, and enjoy it. And we're gonna miss Shannon too. His daughter's been here for a little while too, and she's gonna be leaving with him. So, but thank you, Mark. So we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Who was the second?
I was.
John was. All right.
Because we deal with, Mark in particular and Glenn, if you have a resolution and a contract involved, and they're always so responsive, there's gonna really be a big hole here.
Well, I mean, it's just the amount of work that is
Yeah.
in detail, every credit card charge, every, receipt. It's really incredible how detailed they are. All right, so 615 of 2023 accepts retirement of Michael Joyce, Southampton Town Police Lieutenant.
Another one.
Yeah.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. Yeah, and Lieutenant Joyce has been here for a long time as well. These are big losses. We certainly thank him for his service to our police departments, really distinguished service, and it'd be tough to fill his roles as well, but
I believe he has 30 years plus
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
town of Southampton.
Need a son of the job now,
Yeah,
Yeah.
over 30 years with us. We work closely with him in our office.
You work closely with Mike, Joe, I know Jim works closely. too,
Yeah,
so.
no, Mike's great. Always been a pleasure to work with.
So, but we understand that people do get to retire sometimes and enjoy their lives. They earned it. And, you know, it's a great time to be with family and enjoy the fruits of their many years of labor. So, all right, so we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. All
On
right.
the other hand,
All right, so 616 of 2023, a happy note, appoint Janice Shearer
hence the on the other hand.
to Town Planning and Development Administrator
I'll
from
second
Civil
that.
Service List, seconded by Councilman Bouvier, and
Talk about
I don't-
person
I don't
who
know what
works
to say
hard.
Other than how blessed we are to have Janice
Yeah.
in that capacity. She's really just a tremendous planner and really takes her job to heart so much. And really is, you know, it's a tremendous position being the head of that department, you know, because you have long-range planning and short-term planning, building department, so much going on, us, you know, and, you know, she does a tremendous job, and this is one of the steps you have to take to become, you know, permanent in that position, is you do have to be appointed from the civil service list, pass the test and be appointed. So
So I'm really happy for her that we're there. I talk with Janice, gosh, at least 3 or 4 times a week, so it's nice to see that she's got some stability here, so I appreciate that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
And I'm sure she would love nothing more than for us to fill out her department.
And who's the
Yes.
second?
Well, we're
It's a big problem.
well, a lot of these departments are short-staffed.
I know that.
Well, the list just came out for this, so
Yeah. you
Yeah.
know,
we're hopeful.
They're trying to get her more people. 617 of 2023. This appoints Stephanie Vega to Associate Administrative position in Highway,
Second?
seconded by Councilman Martell. And I don't know Stephanie very well, but I know she worked with the prior highway superintendent and is continuing on. I know she's very valuable over there, so
Yeah,
congratulations.
she's
to
the
Stephanie.
front line. She deals with people every day, and if you want to talk about leaf pickup, talk to Stephanie.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and congratulations. 618 of 2023 appoints William Rayner to groundskeeper 1 position in Parks and Rec,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and congratulations. 619 of 23, authorize attendance at the New York State Traffic Safety Board 2023 Child Passenger Safety Technical Conference on May 2nd, 2023 through May 4th of 2023.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 620 of 23, attendance at the MAD, that's, I guess, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, is that?
Yep.
the
It used
acronym?
to be, it was changed to destructive
Destructive.
decisions.
Oh, yeah, Mothers
decisions, yeah.
Against Destructive Decisions.
There's a lot of them.
Unless you do MAD with 4 Ds, then it would work out.
So attendance at their award ceremony, and I guess we're being recognized,
Department of the Year.
the Department of the Year for our DWE and DRE work. So that's excellent. So we have motion second. All in favor?
I don't have a
Aye.
second.
We did.
Oh, I thought I seconded.
I didn't hear, there was a
Oh,
lot of talking.
okay.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, it's our second recognition program. So, all right, 621 of 2023 is rescinds resolution 2023-556.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 622 of 2023.
It's going around.
I'm going to leave.
It's a public hearing to amend Town Code Chapter 283, Special Events, in order to enhance enforcement ability, clarify definitions, and restructure application procedures.
Second?
That's co-sponsored with Councilman Martell, my apologies, and that's going to be on May 9th.
Okay.
Where are we on, page 64?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 623 of 2023 is co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone. Is a notice of public hearing for supplemental funding for equip of Round Pond Stormwater Restoration of the equip project.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 624 of 2023, also co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, is the notice of public hearing on the acquisition of the land of Five Towns College located at 4 Enterprise Zone Drive, Riverside, for water quality improvement purposes. Oh, I'm sorry. That's your, did it
That's
again.
all right, you did so well. Let's kind of
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, yes, I'm on this as well, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved,
And I was going to second it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
all right.
Town Board Resolution 625 of 2023, notice of public hearing to amend Town Code Chapter 316, vehicles junked and abandoned in order to enhance enforcement ability.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, we are, don't read my resolution.
No, I got that.
626 of 2023, co-sponsored by Councilman Bovee. A notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of lands of K4K LLC located at 381 Flanders Boulevard, Flanders, and amends the CPF management and stewardship plan to include that property.
Second.
And this is a May 23rd hearing, seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 627 of 2023, oddly co-sponsored with no one.
I would actually like to co-sponsor.
Yes, I was waiting for that.
I'm going to give a bathroom at least.
So would I, Cindy. I'd like to co-sponsor too.
Anyone else?
Sure, why not?
All right, notice of public hearing to reallocate W-Equip funding from Flying Point Comfort Station to Hot Dog Beach Comfort Station.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. All right, 628 of 2023. Oddly co-sponsored by everybody. This is acquisition of lands of Rhonda S. Hessner Revocable Trust and Dara Smith Yates Trust, and amends CPF management and stewardship plan to include properties. This is 3.1 acres of land, 209 Hayground Road in Bridgehampton for $2.5 million.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. Any discussion?
I can
All in
ask.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Where is the,
In the walk-ons.
I mean,
You-
people
Brad?
ask,
no, I thought, wasn't Rappaport property on it? Was not?
Didn't we do that? We did that last year.
We put it last
Weeks
time.
ago, I believe.
Did we vote on it?
Yeah,
we just had
yeah, we
the-
did.
We had
the
the
public
hearing.
hearing, but did we?
We had the public hearing.
I think we voted on it.
No, we voted on it because she waited.
Yeah, she
No.
waited.
No, she waited till the
till
public
end of
hearing was done.
I don't,
No, then we voted. I
I
thought we
don't-
voted,
Oh,
and
we
she said,
voted.
thank you, Sharon. I think we did. I think we did.
Yeah,
I don't
We
think
had
we
to,
did.
Let's double check.
we
Right.
did. Sunday says we did.
I thought I remember their
Um,
name.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
yeah.
quite sure.
I remember
we
at the
did.
She
public
came to the
hearing.
public meeting, and then she hung out for our vote, and then we voted, and she said thank you, and she left.
I thought
I-
she said,
I kind of remember it the way you're remembering.
I think
it.
she said bye after the public
She
hearing
said
and left.
bye after the public hearing.
No,
And
but
it
then she hung
wasn't
around,
on-
but then she hung around.
I remember
Came
the
back.
name because I know someone with that last name.
Do you remember the vote, though? No? We'll check.
I think she left
I'm
after the
pretty
public.
sure.
That was an eternity
I-
ago.
Yeah.
Can we check that? We could
She
still,
thanked us after we-
can we add that to the agenda or no? If it's,
No, not now.
has the resolution not been written?
Can you pull up last time's?
Or can we, we'll check it before we close. So let's just continue with the walk-on packet. First one, I think it's Tom General. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, that's last week, last meeting?
Oh, you know, we're on walk-on.
Oh, yeah.
You're
that's
on
right.
walk-ons and-
I'm reading the wrong thing. Okay. Walk-on, so the first one is me. All right, so 43126, resolution authorizing indemnification as it relates to dredging at North Sea Harbor.
Second?
seconded by Councilman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 43157, coordinate lead agency for a supplemental generic environmental impact statement for the siting and construction of a community sewage treatment plant in the hamlet of Riverside.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
43179, amends 2023-27 capital budget and adds capital project Shinnecock dock repairs.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 43189 is our eighth warrant, also for capital and PPF and payroll liability.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 43190, co-sponsored with Councilman McNamara, authorizes Human Resources Director to attend training.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Supervisor, town attorney asked us on this next resolution if we could table it till next meeting, because there's some clarifications that needed to take place.
Okay, so 43200, co-sponsored by Councilman Bouvier, appointing Brent Rayner to ARB. I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So it's tabled to the next.
To the next
Next
meeting.
meeting. 43201, accepts resignation in Youth Bureau.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. 43204, notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code Chapter 270-9 to add requirement to publish rental registration number.
Second.
Second, so this would be a public hearing. I've been wanting to do this for some time now. That's, East Hampton has such a law, basically where, when you advertise for your rental, you put your rental permit number. It helps identify potentially a lot of people who are renting without rental permits.
Yeah.
So, we can talk more about it. This just sets the public hearing. It potentially could go into effect this July.
So this establishes a registry essentially?
No,
Or
no.
not?
Everybody who has a valid rental permit gets a valid rental permit number.
Right.
This just says when you advertise it online or in the newspapers, you put in
That
that
number.
advertisement the rental permit number.
That's better.
It lets somebody renting your property know that you have a permit to rent, that you've been inspected, for safety. et
And they
cetera.
could look it up on our system easier.
Yeah.
Right. So, basically, public safety is at the core of it. All right, so, a motion that was seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 43205, that's Cindy, that's yours?
Authorized fee waiver for the American Legion Hand Aldrich Post number 924, Hampton Bays.
Second. I'd also like to co-sponsor, please.
That's the extension, right?
Yeah.
And they're all just doing a lot of ADA,
All the
like
handicap.
Yeah, yeah,
ADA
yeah, good.
accessibility things.
That's good.
So we're waiving the building fee?
Yes,
All right,
they're putting in an elevator.
Well, they've done, a lot of work's already gone on inside. It looks pretty good.
okay, can I co-sponsor as well? All right, so we had a motion, and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. 43212 abolishes and create positions in highway repair shop and reassign employees.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, and I think this one is head count neutral. So, all in favor?
Aye.
So can we go back and figure out what happened to Rappaport? Because I know she was asking me, and I told her I thought it was on the agenda tonight, and it clearly is not.
I reached out to both Jackie and Dan, I haven't got a response yet.
It's,
We had the hearing,
Good
but
to
we
know.
haven't done the
yeah,
resolution.
it's not. I wasn't crazy.
Okay.
No, I remember her leaving after the public hearing.
And the resolution wasn't written?
It wasn't in the package. If that's the case, then it probably isn't.
I don't
written.
know that you're gonna get Dan McCormick on the phone right now.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll have to
It
wait.
is 9 o'clock.
I know there's some time sensitivity there, but it's not.
It just has to be done prior to closing, right?
Yeah, I think if it's
Well, there were
been
some
here, then she's
conditions that
already-
had to be met, too.
Yeah.
right?
What's that?
There were some conditions that had to be met. about
We're adding stuff to
the
the.
2 horses, and some other things.
Yeah, so maybe he hasn't, they haven't
They're probably
figured out
getting, you know,
language.
it's not gonna, probably not gonna slow anything down. Usually they use this time to get the surveys and do the environmental reviews and
Yeah.
stuff, so it shouldn't
So it
slow
may just
down.
not
It
be
shouldn't
ready.
slow down the closing at all.
Okay.
We just get
All right, is
it.
there any other?
That was their mouth.
Excuse me.
I've wanted to do that all night.
Is there, Lydia's computer mouse, but, you see that over there? Something squealed, it wasn't the public. All right, is there any other business?
No.
All right, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Councilor Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.